Welcome to Long Beach, California. This will be the 23rd time the ChampCars have raced on the fabled streets here in Southern California. The track has gone through myriad changes over the 31 years, including changes again for this year since the first ever race here in 1975. But just a great place to go racing, and we are ready to go this afternoon. So here on board with Katherine Legge. She has been able to take up her position. She is not last on the grid. She actually was the slowest time in final qualifying yesterday, Calvin Fish, but both Will Power and Charles Schwartzman went off the road and caused a red flag right at the end of the session, which interrupted a lot of drivers' plans, but because of that, their best lap time was taken away. So Schwartzman will start from the back.
You see Katherine just weaving back and forth, trying to get some temperature in there. Now we're on board with Schwartzman doing the same thing. Katherine right in front of us, and two ex-Atlantic drivers there getting ready to see their first green flag in ChampCar racing.
Let's have a look at the starting lineup for this afternoon's Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. It's going to be Sebastian Bourdais on the pole position, the 19th pole of his career, his first here in Long Beach, and once again he is the man to beat. Alongside him on the front row, Justin Wilson. He's going to be superb this year, no doubt about it, for Roosevelt, a real championship contender. Bruno Junqueira back here, the pole straight 04 will start on row 2 alongside young AJ Allmendinger.
On row 3, we have the two Forsyth boys. Mario Dominguez, he's had 3 top 5s here at Long Beach. He starts 5th today, just pipping his teammate Paul Tracy. We talked about the fact 2 wall-banging moments in qualifying for PT. Team Australia revamped Alex Tagliani, very excited about his chances. Aurea Service switching over to the PKV team.
Back on row 5, Will Power, some engineering changes at Team Australia. That team really strong. Cristiano Domata, a great job for Dale Coyne Racing, super enthusiasm. Pizzonia there will be on row 6 alongside Jimmy Vasser. He won here back in 96.
On row 7, 2 rookies. Dan Clark from England, tremendous performance in only his 2nd street race. And Jan Halen from Belgium, another fast European. Nelson Philippe, 19 years old, 3rd year of ChampCar racing. And Andrew Ranger, a lot of pressure on this driver today. He only has a one-off at this stage of the year.
The final row of the grid, Katherine Legge and Charles Schwartzman. Legge, yes, she's on the back row, but she's only 1 second slower than Jimmy Vasser. And Jimmy Vasser has a good bit more experience, let's say 231 races coming into this weekend.
Big difference.
So I'd say she's done a very, very good job. We're all lined up, ready to go. Katherine coming around the hairpin, and we're ready to go. Green. There goes the great jump there by AJ Allmendinger, the yellow and white car from the 2nd row of the grid. It looked like he got a jump, certainly on Bruno Junqueira, but here we are down into the first
Bourdais
quarter.
to the inside, one of the Forsyth guys. Oh!
They
Tracy gets nudged by Dominguez. Major carnage down in turn 1.
What a disaster. There's Oriol Servia off the road as well. And is that Jimmy Vasser also? Good grief. Oh, what a disaster. Absolute disaster down in turn 1. The first 2 made it through, but it was a very messy start. I think it was a very late green flag, Calvin, and that's always dangerous.
It was, and we saw PT making the jink through the middle of the pack. Then he moved to the inside, and I don't know whether Dominguez just misjudged his braking. Cold tires, very difficult. Here we see the move. PT in the blue car to the inside.
Defending there with Bruno Junqueira turns in. Junqueira clips Paul Tracy's right front tyre, and Oriol Servia comes to rest behind him as well. The red and white car in the farthest away from us. There's Paul Tracy's wife on the right, Paddy, mum Vivian on the left, and they're distraught, I'm sure. What a disaster.
Here we go again, the overhead. There you see Tracy moves to the left, has to slow it down a little bit further. And Dominguez just had nowhere to go, really.
Well, you know, he had plenty of places to go. He just needed to get on the brakes, in my opinion. I mean, Paul Tracy, he's defending the line, and it's Dominguez's job. There's no way he can pass Paul Tracy. He wasn't even trying to pass Paul Tracy. But I think he should have anticipated there, do you not, Mario Dominguez, that Tracy was going to brake. It was very, very tight down there. Mario should have seen what was going on around him and should have been able to avoid that incident. So we're ready to go back to green here in Long Beach. The green flag again flies in Long Beach. We've got 4 laps in the book. Sebastian Bourdais leads them single file this time to the restart. A good fast pace. He gets a clear jump into turn 1. Justin Wilson in 2nd place. Alex Tagliani 3rd. Mario Dominguez in 4th. And Will Power in 5th.
So far, they are clean. Alex Tagliani losing a little bit of ground there to Justin Wilson. He certainly has not been on the pace of the front 2 guys this weekend, but certainly been up in the top 5, ultimately qualifying 7th. And very happy with his race cars. We mentioned Great new engineering squad coming on. In fact, Mario Dominguez engineer, Mike Pawlowski, is now engineering Tag's car, and along with that he brings some good setups from the Forsyth team.
Yeah, a lot of shuffling around of engineers over the winter, various people hopping around in the Newman Haas team. The Rocky Rocklin, who was Bruno Junqueira's engineer, before that with Cristiano D'Amata, he has left to gone to Formula One, and one of the secondary engineers has moved across to the Rousport team as well. So a lot of shuffling going on. Mike Pawlowski, as you say, he went from Forsyth to the Walker team, the Team Australia.
Well, Tagliani's doing a tremendous job. Again, he's on the black tyres. These two guys we're looking at on picture right now are on the red, so theoretically they should have a bit of an advantage in tyre performance, but Tagliani hanging on well. He has more experience, certainly, than his teammate Will Power. And Tag is really psyched this year. Last year he came to Derek Walker with Team Australia, and they really had not run the Lola before. They'd run Reynards in the past. That was really a learning curve for the team. Of course, Tag had run the Lolas before with Rocket Sport, so he came on board and was almost engineering the car himself. This year, a lot more engineering help. A little bit of a discernment over the winter period. There's talk about Ryan Briscoe, the hot shoe from Australia, potentially joining that team as a third car. And even though Alex had a verbal commitment from the team from Surface Paradise on last year, certainly in January, February, Jeremy, there was some talk about Briscoe maybe joining that team for a while there. Alex wasn't sure where his future would lay.
That's exactly right, and we talked about that team expanding over the winter, bringing on more personnel, particularly those new race engineers, and that means there's not quite so much multitasking.
Look at that, there's the boost.
Yes.
You saw the flashing light there. That means he's using the Cosworth power to pass button for Dominguez, and Power felt the pressure and ran straight on.
Now that was very interesting, because Power there instinctively began to defend that inside line going down Shoreline Drive. You're not allowed to do that in ChampCar racing. There is no defending of positions allowed. You have to keep to your racing line. If there's any blocking, you can be penalised. He realised
on the paint there a little bit, was distracted. Dominguez was putting the pressure on, was looking in his mirrors, missed his braking point a little bit, got a little bit wide, got on the paint there, missed it, and now he can't find reverse gear. I believe the engine is running. Looks like he cannot find reverse gear to get that car out. It didn't touch the tyres.
Boy, how frustrating is that? You're sitting there, the engine's running, you can't find reverse.
Katherine
No, Katherine spun
around. Don't see any damage right now. See the chest
heaving. Yes, it's hard work in these cars, let me tell you. This is a very bumpy track. She's worked so hard on her fitness. She's done a fabulous job. She's worked so hard to get ready for this season. Looks like she's made a mistake, but Katherine Legge still doing a very good job for PKV Racing. Here's a replay. We think this is going to be Katherine Legge. Yeah, maybe just getting on the power a little bit soon. Coming out of turn 5, there's a curb just out of the picture on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yep.
I fancy she might have got the inside wheels up on that curb. Maybe here's a replay. We're watching her come through turn 1 there. We saw Will Power's car off to the right. We're coming through turn 2, the fountain turn. A couple of corners ahead. We'll see what happens to Katherine. She's tracking here behind Andrew Ranger. Here we are. Let's see this next corner, Calvin.
The yellow ribbing there. Yeah, she just clipped it. And that's enough. If she clipped that, we couldn't see because we were looking forward there. If she clipped that with the right rear, it's enough just to hop the car a little bit. No traction control to help you out, and she looped the car around. And also an adverse camber in that corner. These are city streets, folks. These are not. This is not a purpose-built racetrack. And there's a lot when you go over those ribs on the right-hand side. You then get to the crown in the road, and then the road really drops away. When the car is already, the rear end is already sliding, it's almost impossible to control it. Lap 46, Wilson Pits here. Crucial stop here for the Rousport team. There is Bob Mitkiv and the boys going to work. They're going to the black tyres, Gemma. I'm not sure if they damaged a set of the reds in the qualifying sessions, but this is big. We anticipated that Wilson would put on his second set of reds for the day, and he's gone to the black primary tyres, so he will not pick up a big advantage here. That's a surprise. So 30 laps to go. He should be able to make it to the end from there. And, you know, we've seen in the past, particularly Paul Tracy has often said he's quicker on the black tyres on this racetrack, curiously. It's all about balance. You know, more grip doesn't mean you're going to be quicker. You've got to have the balance front to rear, Jeremy. If the car's loose or pushing and got more grip one end than the other, that doesn't help you with lap time. So maybe Justin is, just as you said, more comfortable on the black tyres and made that call. One of the Team Australia cars, I believe it may have been Tagliani, has been in also. Meanwhile, Bourdais, Dominguez and D'Amata have stayed out. So Dominguez, I think, will maybe possibly become the first man other than Bourdais to lead a lap. And here is Sebastian Bourdais. The reds come off, the blacks go on.
And this is Norm Hornacek will lead that crew. He's the guy holding Bourdais on the front of the car. The last of the fuel goes in. Brian Hannon. There's Kenny Seaweck there. He's the team manager for car number 1. Sebastian Bourdais. The stop is completed. Bourdais is on his way toward the checkered flag. Lap 47, his final pit stop.
Dominguez completing away.
And there is Nelson Philippe, who seems to have a problem.
Jimmy Vassaland somewhere.
What a shame for Nelson Philippe. He was running him on the top 10 in 9th place prior to this.
It's a parking lot down there,
it is
Jeremy.
down there in turn 1, isn't it? That turn 1 area. So he's nobody's going to be able to get going as well. But there is Bourdais. The stop is completed. It was absolutely trouble-free, and he is on his way. We're still under green. We think that Nelson Philippe is off the racing surface, out of the way, as Will Power turns his best lap of the race thus far. Still 1 lap down. There is our race leader. Time is ticking away. We believe you can see the time in the left-hand corner, top corner of the screen. Just over 1 minute to go here in Long Beach. The white flag is out. Just one more lap. Just 1.9 miles, 3.1 kilometers to go for Sebastian Bourdais through the fountain turn. One more time, that's the laps car, the twice laps car of Dan Clark ahead of him, but it's looking like plain sailing, Calvin Fish, for the race leader Sebastian Bourdais.
It looks very good. He's done this so many times before, and he just really wants to get there. You see the boys from Newman Haas just looking at the screens, nail-biting moments. They want to celebrate another victory here today for Sebastian Bourdais, and he hasn't put a foot wrong. Got the clean start. He wasn't involved in that schmozzle. Can he capture his 17th win in 3 seasons here in ChampCar racing? Tremendous percentage, 36% of his starts have become wins, over 40% in poles. And here we see Katherine Legge jumping off that hairpin for one more time. She's got another lap to go, and here's Bourdais.
53% have been podium finishes for Sebastian Bourdais. Just amazing records. Here he goes. The checkered flag is out. Sebastian Bourdais wins for the 17th time in just 46 starts. Just amazing. There's so much passion amongst this Newman House racing team. As Mike Hartgraves there, the airjack, who does the airjack on Sebastian Bourdais' car on the left-hand side of the screen. There's just so much enthusiasm. Winning is nothing new to this organisation. Boy, they've done it so many times. This is the 91st.
Here he goes. Here come the donuts.
Look at the starting lineup. Mario Dominguez will start from the pole for the first time. His 66th ChampCar start. Junqueira alongside him. There on road 2, the rivals, Paul Tracy and AJ Allmendinger. Neither of them got through the first corner in the first race. Sebastian Bourdais will start on row 3, and he dominated Long Beach alongside Alex Tagliani. Another great run for Team Australia. Back on row 4 of the grid is Justin Wilson, who we really did expect to go strongly this weekend. Oriol Servia once again doing a good job for PKV. Nelson Philippe, he's delighted with that car, but he didn't get the best out of it in qualifying. Will Power, very quick on Thursday, 4th quickest for a while, ends up on the 5th row of the grid. Back on row 6, Charles Waltzman, big improvement from Long Beach, really getting the hang of that car. Dan Clark had a huge crash on Thursday, over $250,000 worth of damage. Andrew Ranger and Cristiano De Mada way back on row 7. Row 8, Katherine Legge, again admitted to me this afternoon she just didn't get the job done with that car in qualifying. She said she's confident she's got a good, very, very good race car. Nicky Pastorelli, a newcomer, he will drive for the Rocket Sports Racing Team in place of Antonio Pizzonia, who is here this weekend but not driving. And at the back there, Jan Halen from Belgium, all sorts of brake problems he's had all weekend with that Sonny's barbecue car of Dale Coyne Racing. And the Dale Coyne team, they had a great run in Long Beach, both cars finishing in the top 7. This weekend they've really struggled getting that car to handle over the bumps, and we're getting ready for the start. We're on board here with Andrew Ranger driving the GoldenPalace.net casino online banking. The green flag is out, the race is underway. It's a quick start and a single file start, and it's going to be the pole sitter Mario Dominguez leads him into that very, very tight first corner. Are we going to get through? No, we're not going to get through that instance. I think that is Justin Wilson there, and also I believe Nelson Philippe, who went straight on there. Now, as long as they don't gain any advantage by straight line chicane, they're going to be okay, James.
Yeah, that's an issue that ChampCar's really going to have to look at, and obviously the start's important. That was a pretty good start. Yeah, it was kind of single file, but we really needed to have that to make sure everybody made it through. And As you can see, a little bit of a wing there. I guess there was it wasn't completely clean, but no cars were off or in the wall, so we'll try to find out who that was.
A good clean start there by Mario Dominguez. I think that was a smart move to get a single file start, because it's awfully tight down at that first corner. We're joined also by Darren Manning, who drove in this championship a couple of years ago. Darren, great to have you with us, and a good clean fast start. Yeah, it wasn't picture perfect. Perhaps we'd like to see him go 2x2, but pretty smart, I'd say.
Yeah, good to be here, Jim. Good to see you. And yeah, it was a bit of a single file start there, as you say, but definitely safety first on a new street course like this here at Houston, and especially with that tight chicane there at the first corner that they're just going through now. It was definitely discretion, better part of Valor, but we don't know really who lost that front wing, but nobody seems to be losing any spots here.
I believe it was Oriol Servia who lost that wing at the first corner, and Oriol Servia has been happy with that PKB car all weekend.
There you go,
he didn't qualify. Yeah, there he is. He didn't qualify very well. You can see the right front. There's Justin Wilson in the pits already. What a disaster for Justin. Had a great second place finish a couple of weeks ago, just checking the right front suspension there as well.
Just took some paper off the front wishbone there. I don't see any really problems there that he had on suspension or crashing or anything, but
might have been some contact there in corner one, which made him go cut the chicane there. Maybe we can get a replay of the start.
Yeah, maybe even that front wing got caught up behind.
He probably got together. He started just ahead of Oriol Servia, so I would say the chances are that those two got together. Maybe Justin was worried about the rear end of his car. Probably got hit by the front wing of Oriol Servia. He's down the inside. Looks Sebastian Bourdais down to the inside of Legge in turn 5. Perfect pass.
Good move.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Sebastian's been looking down into that corner quite a few times. We've seen him, haven't we? And
actually, look at those cars skating around.
Yeah, under the bumps, under the brakes. That's not really what you want to be doing as a driver, but it's you need a lot of confidence. Obviously, Sebastian's got a bit more confidence in those red wall tyres now from qualifying. Obviously, they are the faster compound tyres, and he's moving his way up into second place. Let's see if he can do anything with Dominguez.
Down to the inside. It's bumpy down the inside.
Very good move there by Bourdais.
It's textbook.
Didn't use actually any push to pass. He's still on 30 seconds. Capitalised on the back markers there, and Dominguez came back at him a little bit there as we're under yellow for some reason. I think there's a car stopped on the circuit somewhere.
It might be Katherine Legge. She just went a lap down right before that came out there.
The yellow is out. The pits are closed. We're at 26 laps in the books here. It's a 100 lap race. The cars can do about 32, 33 laps before they need fuel. It's very tight. There is Paul Newman. He's watching on there with Bernie Haas, Carl Haas' wife, in the Newman Haas pit. He's looking anxiously there to see what is going to happen.
You can see there with the yellow there, Dominguez had to repass Sebastian. That was a real shame for Sebastian, because that would have been fantastic for him to be in front going into the pits.
Yeah, he got the call from the pits. A little bit of
he's not quite sure, is he? I think his team's probably telling him to repass Mario, but I'm sure the Forsyth team. Oh yeah, he's not.
Oh, look at that!
Mario's not too happy at him trying to get past him.
So we're there is on the right there is Craig Hampson, the race engineer.
They're very angry there. I'd like to hear some of those conversations between them and the officials here at ChampCar.
Some colourful language being used, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and on the track.
Billy Camphausen, the ChampCar official, they're trying to relay the information to that team. They don't want to hear.
But it's great. I mean, Mario's showing he's not scared. He was very aggressive to give Sebastian a little turn in to let him know that he's in front. He deserves to be in front. He means business.
Pits are open, and we are on lap. We've completed 29 laps. It will be this time around. So now it's down to the pit crews. Can Mario Dominguez, guys, get him out ahead of this man, Sebastian Bourdais? He pulls into the pit, and go the guys to work on that car. Norm Hornicek is on the outside front tyre. He's got the front tyres on. You can see
a bit of a problem with the front right there as Tracy goes away and Dominguez is away.
Well spotted down.
Absolutely well in front of Bourdais. Tracy nearly gets him as well.
Very close, so it looked like a problem for that right front tyre. Norm Hornicek, who changes that outside front tyre. He is the lead crewman on the pit stops. Pedro Campuzano is the overall crew chief on that car, but Norm looked like he fumbled that right front tyre, and that was costly for Bourdais. So it looks like this rivalry between them has been temporarily settled, and it's Dominguez back in front. On board here with Andrew Ranger. We're on lap 67 for the leaders, and Mario Dominguez, he had a 3.5 second lead. It was down to about 2 seconds, but now he's got past AJ Allmendinger, and the gap has opened up quite a lot already. Look at the gap he's put out. There is Sebastian Bourdais. No sign of AJ. Not sure where AJ went. A very slow lap last time around, 67.9. Of course, that was his out lap, so trying to trip, certainly a difficult lap for AJ Allmendinger, but he's got out of the way, and Dominguez has stretched that gap by about a half a second last time around. He did a... Whoa, he's made a mistake! Disaster!
Oh, that's absolutely tragic. Mario's running such a good race. That is not what these guys wanted to see.
Oh, boy. How disappointing. Look how much time he has lost.
It looks like he's back out behind PT, because there's Allmendinger right behind him. So this is a real test of character now for Mario. See if he can get back up. There's still quite a lot of laps, 23 laps to go, something like that. So one more pit stop, maybe some more yellows, you never know. So he's got the pace. Let's see what he can do.
Bourdais is now back in the lead. He turns a quick lap there, 61.1. And Mario Dominguez is in third place, about 7.5 seconds back. As you said, he's calling for the red sidewall tyres, the softer of the two tyres, and those are the tyres with which he won the pole 2 days ago. Here again, here's a braking area at turn 5. He locks up the brakes, goes too deep into the braking area, straight on. The good news is he does get it stopped. He does a spin turn, and he's awfully lucky not to lose more time. Then there's a contact in turn 1. Whoops, there goes that battle for 6 and 7 through there.
Like Serdia, in fact.
I think it is, yeah. I think it is.
With a yellowish helmet.
What a disaster for Oriol. He's running there in 5th place. He was battling with Alex Tagliani. The left front wheel is awry on that car. And clearly you can see the frustration written all over the Tagliani's face. The yellow flags come out one more time.
Looks like it was maybe a similar incident to what we had with Will Power and Zoltzman.
I was just going to say the
Here we go.
Here we got the replay.
Not the same guy. No, it's Tagliani, I think, he's trying to pass. He smokes down the inside. It's an awfully late move. Tagliani turns in. I know, apportioning blame there, Darren.
Well,
tough one.
It is very tough, but you know, as with Will Power was locked up, you know.
My perspective is, when you get into the braking area, particularly if you're battling for position. So if you're making a pass before the guy turns in, you've got to be right alongside him. Otherwise, the guy is going to turn into the corner. I think there's only going to be time for one more green flag lap. We're coming out of turn 8, and they're on the power. There goes Sebastian Bourdais, and he's got again a great jump over Paul Tracy. I think that's going to be crucial. There is a green flag and the white flag. A brilliant restart by Sebastian Bourdais. To Paul Tracy, not close enough, and nor is Dominguez close enough. They're both using the power to pass button, but there's not enough. Bourdais has a clear edge into turn 1, and that I think is going to win in the motor race. There's maybe one more opportunity at the end of the back straight. He ran a bit wide.
Yeah, he locked up a little bit going into turn 1. You heard him squeal the tyres. He's pushing so hard, and that might just help.
Now this is it. You've got to get on the power here. Look at that. Bourdais got a great jump off that corner.
He really is probably using what's left of his 19 seconds to push to pass. I mean, Paul's got 34 seconds going into this lap, and on a lap that's a little over a minute long, he should probably be using it for all 34 seconds to try and catch up to Sebastian here.
He should, but he's not, and the edge clearly is with Newman Ass Racing and Sebastian Bourdais. He's now just got 2 corners to go. There is Paul Tracy. I'm sure he hasn't given up, but he knows in the back in his heart that it's a pretty tall ask. But he knows now, as they come through turn 8, just 1 corner to go, it's going to take a massive error by Sebastian Bourdais, and a Frenchman doesn't do that, does he? There he goes across the finish line. It is yet another win for Sebastian Bourdais, win number 18, his 2nd consecutive this season. That is Kevin Chambers, a crew chief for the Blonde Air on the pit road. Another brilliant drive by the Frenchman, married just 1 week ago, and what a way to celebrate your wedding. But here's the unofficial points after 2 races. Sebastian Bourdais 68 points, so 33 points he got this weekend, 31 for winning a race, 1 for leading, and 1 for fastest lap of the race as well. And his fastest lap, 60.176 seconds.
Look at this. Just Mario had a great run to 3rd, even though with his little mistake. More importantly, he leaves here 2nd in the points, which is just great for the Mexican.
It certainly is, and there is Sebastian Bourdais. We've seen an accident-packed race here. My thanks to James Hinchcliffe, Darren Manning, Cameron Steele, and Bill Stevens. My name is Jeremy Shaw. We'll see you in 1 week's time in Monterey, Mexico.
Concentrate on your mark. Go, 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 go. Green, green, green. Series powered by Ford. The sights, the sounds, the exhilaration of a 185-mile-an-hour festival of speed.
Welcome to the Tecate Grand Prix of Monterey, presented by Rochefrans. Hi, I'm Jeremy Shaw, joined once again by Atlantic driver James Hinchcliffe. It's hot here in Monterey, but unlike in Houston 1 week ago, this is a very smooth, low-grip racetrack. It's going to be a heck of an event this afternoon. We are, once again, the man to beat is going to be Sébastien Bourdais. He's on pole yet again for Newman Haas Racing, that #1 McDonald's car. It's the 20th pole of his career. He's been here 4 times to Monterey, and every time he has started from the pole, but as yet just 1 win to his name. Can he make it 2 this afternoon?
It depends a lot on how the strategy plays out, but you know, it's all about track position around here most of the time, but then the race can get really crazy if people are getting out of sync and you've got different strategies getting on the racetrack at different moments with different tires. So it can be a pretty interesting race.
Justin Wilson will start second. He had a difficult time in Houston. He finished 5th after a couple of spins. He really had to work hard. He had blistered hands, but he's qualified 2nd this weekend. Another man with high expectations this weekend is Mexican hero Mario Dominguez. He enjoyed his first career pole in Houston, finished 3rd, but he had a very tough time here in Monterey 1 year ago.
That was the worst race I've ever driven, ever since I started racing go-karts since I was 10. That's how bad that was, and I hope this year is one of the best. I'll just try to do my best.
So here we are, we're in the Parque Fundidora Park. It's the old steelworks here in Monterey, and it's a fabulous facility. There's all sorts of things here for the fans to do, and a very exciting racetrack, but it is very, very slippery. Turn 1, that's always going to be dodgy at the start. Turn 3 and 4, we're going to see cars jumping over the chicane curbing there. Turn 5 is certainly an overtaking place, and then coming out of turn 8 through turn 9 to turn 10 is certainly the other good overtaking opportunity on this racetrack. Let's take a lap around with Mario Dominguez.
So here we are coming on with Mario onto the front straight. Like Jeremy said, really low grip track here in Monterey. It's all about grip. So we're coming down from 6th gear, 165 miles an hour, down 2 gears, quick right, hard on the brakes, down to 2nd gear, all the way down to 40 miles an hour through this part of the corner. On the power, it's really important to get power down. It was so hard here with no grip. Heading down into the 3-4 chicane, big curbs here. Look for a lot of cars to get it wrong and get a lot of air hitting those things. It's a good tub wrecker. Hard on the brakes all the way down to 1st gear, 35 miles an hour. It's practically crawling in these Champ cars, and again, all about getting back to the power. Running up here towards the next corner, big bump under braking. Look for it right there. Very easy to lock up wheels there. Just keep a nice and tight line. Down again to 1st gear and then shoot through this chicane. Again, always about back to power at this track. You're heading down now to a very important corner, corner 8. A little bit of the curbing, get back to power. This corner 9 here is all flat out, so it's basically a long straightaway Mario's running through. We're coming down this back straight here, heading into a good passing opportunity in turn 10. Another big bump under braking can really upset the cars. Take the curbs in 10. Now we have 2 long carousel corners. First the right, balance the car on throttle, get to power, get off power. Balance the car on the last corner, get the power down, almost kiss the wall, up through the gears, and that's a lap with Super Mario at Fundidora Park.
So here we are in Monterey, Mexico, round 3 of the ChampCar World Series, and we can see once again there is the #1 car, Sébastien Bourdais, the McDonald's car of Newman Haas Racing. He will once again start from the pole. Alongside him, though, is Justin Wilson. Yeah, these 2 guys, they're the men to beat this season, James, it seems.
Yeah, they really are. They've been class to Philippe pretty much since the opening practice at Long Beach.
What's the key to the start here?
The key to the start here is just getting the power down with 750 horsepower in these Cosworth motors. As they come around here, cars lined up. 1 car to line there. Looks like Mario.
There they go. The green flag is out. The green flag is out. JD Wilbur waves it, and it's Sébastien Bourdais. Got a great jump into turn 1, and AJ Allmendinger making a big lunge down the inside to get past his Rooseport teammate Justin Wilson. That was a very dicey move. I think everybody made it through the corner. There is Dan Clark. Maybe he's dropped back, so he must have had some sort of a mishap there in the very first corner, but a great start by Sébastien Bourdais. and somehow Justin Wilson got himself back up into second place. But look how much ground those two have lost already to Sebastian Bourdais.
We got a great race going on. AJ looking pretty dicey going on the inside of Justin there in corner 5. Look at the lead though. Sebastian already pulled out 3 corners into it. He had about a 5-car length lead over Justin. But this Justin AJ PT battle for second place is looking to add some excitement to this race.
It is, and there certainly is a big lunge in turn 1. As you said, he had another look down in turn 5 also, did AJ Allmendinger. No team orders there quite clearly between those two Roosevelt guys. But what they have done, of course, is allow Sebastian Bourdais to pull out a little bit of a breathing space over these two in the very early stages of this race. This is the fastest part of the course, around about 170 miles an hour, all the way down to second gear for this turn 10 left-hander. And as you said, James, these two carousel corners to the right and then to the left and onto this start-finish lap to complete lap 1 here in Monterey. 75 laps we will run this afternoon. 75 laps. We're expecting 2 pit stops. You can see most. There's a problem for Nelson Philippe, we believe that is. So both CTE cars apparently have had problem on the first lap. Yes, it is car number 4, Nelson Philippe. We saw Dan Clark apparently have an off-course excursion on the very first corner, and now Nelson Philippe is off as well. Let's take a replay of the start down in turn 1. You can see that the yellow car of Allmendinger lunged down the inside into turn 1, but Justin Wilson was able to get around the outside. Here, though, are the 2 CTE cars getting together at the very first corner. What a disaster for Keith Wiggins.
No, that's just brutal. I feel horrible for Nelson. He's coming off his best ever finish in a ChampCar race, 4th last week in Houston, to have contact, and if it is in fact with his teammate, I mean that's the cardinal sin in motor racing. The one golden rule is do not take out your teammate. The second golden rule, of course, is don't date your teammate's sister. But this is almost just as bad.
It certainly is. And Keith Wiggins will not be at all impressed. I know Nelson Philippe was really upset to qualify behind his teammate Dan Clark. These two are already not really getting along terribly well. Nelson saying that he's getting no help in terms of the setup from his teammate Dan Clark, so why should I help him? Well, Dan Clark actually out-qualified him yesterday, so Nelson clearly trying to get a jump on his teammate there at the first corner, and it all went wrong. So we've got 16 laps in the books now. Bourdais is still out in front, ahead of Justin Wilson by around about 1.2 seconds. Pretty much steady gaps between each of these top 4 cars, just over 1 second, separating Bourdais from Wilson, Wilson from Allmendinger, Allmendinger from Tracy, and then a gap of about another 4 seconds back to Bruno Junqueira in 5th place. And interesting, isn't it? That Bruno Junqueira just doesn't seem to have the pace of Sebastian Bourdais this season as yet.
Yeah, it looks though in this race in particular, Bruno's he's complaining of a little bit of understeer in the car, which is again not uncommon at this track as we look at PT going through this corner here.
Let's get down to the pit lane and hear from Neil Micklewright from Forsyth Racing. He's looking after the wares of
down here with Neil Micklewright, the man from Paul Tracy. Practice didn't go that well. Car looked a little dicey. How is it now, and what's the strategy for Paul?
I think we've got the car a good deal better than it was in the morning warm-up, and probably as good as it's been all weekend. Right now it seems fairly good balance. We're making reasonable mileage, running 4th, running as quick as the leaders and just hanging out there. So we're waiting to see how things unfold a little bit, see if there's an opportunity for us.
So it'll be just 2 laps to go when he comes across the stripe this time, and here he goes right there. 73 laps now in the books, just 2 to go, and there is Sebastian Bourdais, another flawless drive this afternoon. Wilson in 2nd place, Allmendinger in 3rd, Tracy in 4th, then Tagliani, then Dominguez, Ranger, Servia, D'Amato, Junqueira, Will Power. And we're on board here with
Frank,
Andrew
the
Ranger.
complexions of this race has changed so much today. Right now, you guys look pretty calm. You think you have it in hand?
Well, I hate having to run in the lap traffic like this because there haven't been many yellows. We've now caught a lot of back markers, and they're all racing each other. They're trying pretty hard. I'm not sure they're too aware of who's behind them. We almost had a disaster there, so the guys do need to use their mirrors. But it's looking better now. Bruno just helped us out. He's a good teammate. And well, it's been an up and down day, but right now it's working out. 2 more laps to go. We'll see what we got.
Can't find my notes as to how many cautions there were in this race 1 year ago, but I can tell you it was a lot. And this afternoon, it's been an absolutely brilliant motor race. Just the one relatively, well, fairly brief full course caution. Otherwise, it's been flat out from start to finish. A real workout for these drivers. A very different race to what we had in Houston 1 week ago. There, the cars were bucking around over the bumps. Here, the drivers are fighting for grip on a very low grip surface. So once again, the drivers are having a workout. There it is.
Wasn't the case. You actually got enough fuel to go to the finish. Were you disappointed about something else in that final pit stop?
No, as a matter of fact, Justin came in. He came in a lap earlier than Sebastian, and what you saw was a classic. We passed him. He passed us back on fuel strategy. We filled the car with enough fuel to get it to the end. Hopefully, we still got a lap to go. But Sebastian had a better fuel strategy than us.
Well, he played it all the way to fumes. We'll see how it plays out now.
Well, to play out well, hey, one quick thing. Tommy Lutz, we're riding with you, and Dave Kozar, congratulations on the kit. We'll see you next race.
Tommy Lutz there, that's Carl Russo touring. Tommy Lutz has had a benign tumour removed from the back of his neck before this weekend, so he's one of the crew guys not here this weekend. But the Roo Sport team again done a super job for both Justin Wilson and AJ Allmendinger. We're on board here with Mario Dominguez. That is a battle for 6th and 7th places. Andrew Ranger was behind, and he wants to make it 3 6th place finishes in a row to start off the season. But the man of the moment once again is Sebastian Bourdais. Here he comes. Well, that's Oriol Servia coming through the final couple of corners with Cristiano D'Amato right behind him. But now through that Takati turn one last time, and there are the waved double yellow flags for Sebastian Bourdais. It is win number 19 in his 48 race career. Just an amazing record. Whoa, that was, I think, was that
Servia maybe?
It looked like it might have been Oriol Servia there.
No, because he was actually behind. He's behind the Ranger Dominguez.
So we're on board here with Mario Dominguez.
It was Katherine Legge spun in corner 5 there.
A great battle going on there, farther down the order. But we've had races all the way down the field. It's been a tremendous race here in Monterey, and still we've got drivers fighting it out for position. There is Mario Dominguez, the Mexican hero, trying desperately to hold off Andrew Ranger.
Yeah, both of them have been on the push to pass. I mean, Dominguez he's got 4 seconds left. Ranger was on it down that whole straightaway trying to catch up. He's lost all passing opportunities now, short of Mario diving into the pits. I'm pretty sure isn't going to happen. Ranger, he's going to have to settle for 7th, but I mean, two sixes and a 7th to start the season off. Not a bad way to get things going in that MyJack car. Great run for Ranger.
Yeah, great run for both of these two guys. They came into this weekend 2nd and 4th in the points. Dominguez 2nd and Ranger in 4th, and they will probably stay there. And I think actually Wilson will move back up into 2nd place by virtue of the fact he finished 2nd this afternoon. Dominguez finishes 6th, so he will drop to 3rd in the points. But Andrew Ranger, another strong run for that Golden Palace.net car, the MyJack Conquest Racing entry, and it was Katherine Legge that spun it in turn 5 on that final lap. So here's the unofficial results. Bourdais, Wilson, Allmendinger round up the podium. Tracy, Tagliani, Dominguez, and Ranger, Servia, D'Amato. So they're the point standings with 3 rounds of Bridgestone presents the ChampCar World Series powered by Ford in the books. Sebastian Bourdais, a nice round, even 100 points, and a goodly margin now over Justin Wilson. You can see it there, 24 points clear. Mario Dominguez gets moves himself into 3rd place. He lost the position this weekend by virtue of Wilson being ahead of him on the podium, but Andrew Ranger there and Alex Tagliani separated by just 1 point going into the next round, which will be in a couple of weeks' time on the Oval in Milwaukee. And an interesting race all around, James.
It was really good because I saw some good battling, strong results from both Newman Haas and the Roo Sport guys. Now we see Seb trying to go for 4 straight wins. He's never won in Milwaukee, so it'll be interesting to see if he can join the list of guys like Zanardi and D'Amato to go for 4 straight wins.
Yeah, that's certainly been one of the thorns in his side for Sebastian Bourdais, but the thorn in his side this weekend was the Roo Sport team. But at the end of the day, it was Newman Haas Racing that once again came out on top, and a 3rd consecutive win for Sebastian Bourdais. I'm Jeremy Shaw. My thanks to Bill Stevens, Cameron Steele, and you, James Hinchcliffe, for joining us this afternoon. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time in Milwaukee on the Mile. The pace car has pulled off. We are getting ready for the start. Sebastian Bourdais, his first ever pole here in Milwaukee. A great start. He leads away from Bourdais and Chiara, the 2 Roo Sport cars side by side. But The yellow flag is out. That's a no start. They will line up those cars again and go once more for a run at the start of this motor race. Let's have a look at the inboards this afternoon. Or on board the CDW car of Justin Wilson. He will start on row 2. Ahead of him is Bruno Junqueira. Back a little bit on the grid is the number 6 car of Oriol Servia. He's going to give us some exciting action. He crashed heavily on Friday. He's also in the backup car. Farther back in the grid we have the 2 MyJack Conquest racing cars. This is Andrew Ranger, and also we'll have some onboard pictures from his teammate Charles Waltzman. We're getting ready though to go green one more time. The green flag's already about the same sort of start, I reckon, but this time the green is out. Bourdais does get a jump, but look at AJ Allmendinger, a great move to the inside, and Bourdais is already alongside his teammate Barry Dominguez from 5th place, going down the back straight away, Greg.
Justin Wilson trying on the outside of his teammate. He got it on the outside. I think Servia was. He's on the outside now through 3 and 4.
Oh no!
Teammate.
That is Bruno,
big accident.
And one of the
both Forsyth cars are around.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, what a disaster at the start of this. I didn't see what happened to the 2 Forsyth cars, but Bruno seemed to lose it on his own, and then they got together as well.
So it looks like Mario there, who's kept it off the wall, but Paul's in it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, there's Paul. Oh, that's such a shame. He had such a great start, going up to 5th, I think, already by the back straight. 1 corner from 10th to 5th. I guarantee you he was on push to pass. Here's a look at the replay.
That was Dominguez and they did get together, didn't he? Dominguez got together there with Junqueira. Junqueira spins around, and Paul Tracy stuck on the outside. Absolutely nowhere to go. Those 2 cars, no doubt about it, got together. That was Dominguez on the inside line, Junqueira on the high line, and they got together with the right front of Dominguez's car to the left rear of Junqueira, and poor old Junkie, nothing he can do about that. Here is the green flag is out again there. We've got 13 laps in the books here this afternoon, and Sebastian Bourdais makes that jump again from pole position. So one of the anomalies has been set straight. He's now led a lap here on the Milwaukee Mile for the first time in his career. This is his 4th time here on the Milwaukee Mile. 2nd place is AJ Allmendinger. 3rd, the Rousport teammate of Justin Wilson. Then the 2 PKV cars of Servia and Katherine Legge. Behind them is Nelson Philippe and Will Power there, exchanging positions, I think, or Andrew Ranger trying to make a pass going into turn 1, not able to pull that one off. Drama here in Milwaukee. The Newman House Racing team is set out in the pit lane. They're awaiting Sebastian Bourdais. Here he comes. There is the pit crew on pit lane. Craig Hampson has called in Sebastian Bourdais under green flag. This is an absolute disaster. 50 miles an hour here down to his pit stall, and then the crew will go to work. It's Norm Hornicek who's on the outside front. They're going to change all 4 tyres. They will, of course, top it off with fuel as well. So I have to presume they must have thought that maybe the telemetry showed that one of the tyres was going down. We'll have word on that in a few minutes. Then he's Kenny Seawick. He sends Bourdais on his way. But now Bourdais has got to creep all the way around to turn 2 on that 50-mile-an-hour speed limiter. And boy, how frustrating is that?
He's a lap down now.
Oh yeah,
I can't believe it. I don't know what it would have been that would have brought him into the pits. I mean, he was running at very quick pace, pulling away from AJ and the rest of the field. So either way, great break for the Rousport team. AJ now leading. He's always been quick here. Never finished outside the top 5 in his two races here. Came 2nd last year. Now running 1st. I mean, this could be AJ's day to finally take his first win.
Oh boy, isn't that what he's been looking for such a long time? This is AJ's 31st start. He's come so close on so many occasions. He's had 4 second-place finishes in his career, 10 podiums in all, but not yet that elusive win. And Bourdais was reckoning he had a puncture in the right rear, but as you say, James, he was turning very quick laps before he had that problem, and now it's really cost him because he's more than a lap down. And we've got another incident on the track in turn 4. It's one of the CTE cars. I can't see what number. It's dangerous. Sorry, Speedy Dan. That's the one, Speedy Dan. It's a shame for Dan. He's done a nice job, a very nice job this weekend, actually. Down to the pit lane with Jon Beekes.
Probably hear the hiss of the tire. All it takes is that little puncture. And that's unfortunately what brought him to the pits. Now, if people pit under this yellow, guys, he'll be stuck on those laps that he lost. So if they take advantage of when the pit's open, that could be cooking for the Newman Haas team.
The race goes to pit lane now. Both Rousport crews going to be trying their best to beat one another. It's good to have a little bit of inter-team rivalry here. We got Servia just pulling into his pit stall. Ranger and Will Power doing the same thing, and Charles Wolfsman. Everybody's pretty much in the pits now. and it'll be a race off of pit lane. Servia's gone.
Great stop by Oriol Servia. Nelson Philippe coming behind him.
Justin gets him.
He does, and that's the advantage there of that first pit on pit lane for Justin Wilson. And the teams get to, they select the positions they will be on pit lane according to their finishing positions in the previous race. They amalgamate each of the two team cars, and whoever has the best overall average gets to choose first. A big advantage here for the Rue Sport team. They had the first pit, and they picked that pit right nearest to pit out, because Justin Wilson, all he does when the car comes down off the jacks, he just goes straight out and then turns left around that turn one on the infield there. Everybody else has to turn out and then around. So good advantage there for Justin Wilson, and he takes full advantage, and he will lead this motor race. He said he won't lead this motor race because Katherine Legge, for some reason, did not make a pit stop. So the PKV team, they're hedging their bets a little bit here. They're going to go with two different strategies for each two drivers. Oriol Servia did come in, Katherine did not. Not an altogether bad move, particularly if there's another caution within the next 40 or 50 laps, because with that long caution period and now another caution now, they're going to be able to go at least 75 laps before they need to make that first pit stop. So Katherine has plenty of time up her sleeve, effectively.
Yeah, they're taking that risk, but this strategy really does depend on a yellow. Now there's a relatively good chance that they'll get that yellow before they're going to need to come in for the first pit stop for Katherine. But either way, great result for her. She comes around to get the green flag, and in front of Sebastian.
Yeah, and she'll allow Sebastian to go through, so that will move Sebastian back onto the tail end of the lead lap, or will it? I'll check that one. I'm not quite sure about that.
Should do, I believe.
Yeah, pretty sure it will. Yeah, so he will now be back on the lead lap again, and here's the battle between the two Rue Sport cars of Justin Wilson and AJ Allmendinger. But what this will do, though, is give Katherine Legge an opportunity to get out front and lead a ChampCar race for the first time in her career. And we've seen in the past how much that does for a driver's confidence when you're out in front.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Katherine is doing a phenomenal job right now. She's out front, her first ever oval race. It's in a ChampCar, and she's out front leading guys like Justin Wilson and AJ Allmendinger, who are tracking her down, but still, she's done a great job all weekend. She's holding her own absolutely brilliantly. And, AJ's going to be pretty upset that he lost the lead on that pit stop there. As Justin tries to look on the inside of one, he's got to realize that there's still 194 laps to run in this race.
And Justin Wilson dives to the inside. A great opportunistic move there by Justin Wilson. He gets past the slower traffic and past Katherine Legge as well to take the lead. What a wonderful move by Justin.
That was really brilliant. That was experience at work. I mean, he read that situation perfectly.
Down here with Jimmy Basser. He's the V in PKV Racing. I know you're very proud with Katherine's performance so far.
She does a fantastic job. Really amazed at how well she took to her first oval, especially here in Milwaukee. We left her out there in front from the stop to let her lead a little bit. We're all real happy for her here. It's early in the race yet, and I think she's been doing a great job.
Down the back straightaway, AJ Allmendinger is really under pressure. He loses a position there to Oriol Servia. There is AJ. Is he coming into the pit lane? A very tight line coming off the corner as they went around there, and Nelson Philippe is all over the back end of Sebastian Bourdais as well. They're in amongst the slower traffic. A big battle going on. That I think is Charles Waltzman, who Oriol is now ducking past, coming down the back straightaway. There goes Sebastian Bourdais, and Jan Halen is very slow coming off turn 2 as well. AJ is really struggling. He's up high there. He's lost another position to Nelson Philippe. AJ Allmendinger all of a sudden is really battling to hold on to that car. All of a sudden, he's gone from 2nd to 5th in just a blink of an eye. There goes Sebastian Bourdais to the inside of Oriol Servia. There they are in turns 3 and 4. Sebastian Bourdais ducked to the inside going into the corner. Oriol just held his line going down there, but Sebastian has got a great run coming off the corner, and he makes a move using the Cosworth power to pass going down to turn 1. But again, still they are trying to hold on that outside line. A great battle here.
Rick, the McDonald's team begs to differ. I just spoke with them, and they think their car's fine. They just said that Nelson Philippe is on fire, and they're happy with the balance of the car. I think Sebastian's being a little conservative.
But here we are now on board with Justin Wilson. His routine pit stop, scheduled pit stop on lap 100. He will need one more pit stop to get to the end of this motor race.
Taki. Okay, when he talks, he slid a little bit too far. That'll slow down the pit stop somewhat. when he talks about vibration and the answer was pickup, that means he picked up some rubber on the racetrack. Obviously a cure to vibration is put 4 brake zones on the car. A little bit slower than he would like.
Not a bad stop from Roossport there, but like Jan said, he went in a little bit too deep. He would have just cut his tire changers off just a little bit. And as we see Nelson Philippe now dive into the pit lane.
And also Will Power coming onto pit lane as well. There is Oriol Serbia. It's Sebastian Bourdais who's picked up the lead of this motor race again. He's pulled about a 4-second gap over Oriol Serbia all of a sudden. And now we're going to see there is Will Power completing service for Team Australia. And he will be back on his way, currently running in the top 5. And we are expecting AJ Allmendinger as well. Here comes AJ onto pit lane as Will Power leaves. So you can see Will there, he's on the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit button all the way around here, all the way around turn 1, all the way around turn 2, down to Jon Biekes.
He also slides a little bit past the box. This is a case if you change the tire pressures, 1 pound of tire pressure is equal to 50 pounds on the spring.
Super stop.
You didn't see the obvious changes. You can make some big changes by tire pressure, and hopefully they can tighten up the car for AJ.
Talking about tightening up the car there with Jon Biekes. By tightening up, it means the car was loose, and they can just tighten that car, tighten the rear end of the car, get it more balanced, more settled, and make that car a more of a neutrally balanced car. Down to Bill Stevens, we're going to come down to pit lane. That was Oriol Serbia, pulls a PK3 car into pits.
Serbia's in the pits. Watch Phil Davis, the left front tire changer, go to work. They're going to put a little bit more grind into the front wing to give them a little bit more downforce over those front wheels. Otherwise, no other changes.
All clear.
So Don Oldenburg there and the boys on car number 6, a little bit more front wing into that car, so a little bit of understeer is the problem for Oriol Serbia. He was talking about oversteer, particularly as the tyres got worn towards the end of that stint, the rear end of the car wanting to slide too much. The opposite problem for Oriol Serbia, understeer or push as they use in the oval parlance, the front end of the car just not sticking, particularly towards the end of the stint.
Sebastian Bourdais in the pits.
Here he is, so 127 laps here. Kenny Seawick there calling out the strategy, telling Sebastian Bourdais exactly what he has to do. Stops right on the marks. There is Norm Hornicek and the boys there on the outside front, and it looks like perfect service here for Newman Haas Racing. They're certainly going to have to make one more pit stop there before the end of this motor race, as is everybody else. So they're back on strategy effectively, even though they're not back on strategy, but they will be able to make it to the end of the race with just one more pit stop for Sebastian Bourdais. Sebastian pulled out such a lead, he was able to come in a couple of laps ago, take on routine service, fill it up with fuel, a fresh set of Bridgestone Potenza tyres, and still maintain the lead over Justin Wilson. So amazing run by Sebastian Bourdais. Justin Wilson will be making another pit stop in around about probably 50 laps time. Katherine Legge is running in 3rd place. She has led the race and become the first female ever to lead a ChampCar race. And just a stunning job as she has done, although as she pulls now onto pit lane, she relinquishes 3rd place to Andrew Ranger. Here is Katherine. The crew goes to work. We've got 143 laps completed now out of 225, and a lead that Sebastian Bourdais has over Justin Wilson is out to almost 14 seconds. The 3rd place car of Nelson Philippe is a whole 1 lap down.
Sebastian out front, 4 seconds now, untouched, untouchable. Throw him high, throw him low, throw traffic at him, cut a tire, it doesn't matter. This driver and this team always seem to pull it together. And Sebastian Bourdais is going to come through corner 3-4 this time, and the white flag will be meeting him at start-finish line. I think the flaggers probably had the busiest job of all with the blue flag today.
Yeah, there is the white flag for Sebastian Bourdais. So just 1 more mile to go. It's going to be a 197 lap race here in Milwaukee. Sebastian Bourdais started from the pole. He certainly hasn't had things all his own way. As James was just saying, he had that problem early on with a punctured right rear tyre. He came in, made a pit stop, lost more than a lap. It doesn't matter, he comes back oh so strong, and there it is, the double checkered flags. Win number 20 for Sebastian Bourdais. An amazing record.
Bridgestone presents the ChampCar World Series powered by Ford. The sights, the sounds, the exhilaration of a 185-mile-an-hour festival of speed.
Welcome to Portland, Oregon. The ChampCar World Series is all about variety. We've gone from a high-speed oval and the city of festivals in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, all the way to the rugged Pacific Northwest, a permanent road course, and the city of roses. You know, an awful lot has happened since the last race in Milwaukee. The big news is a bizarre game of musical chairs has been taking place. 3 teams and drivers have been shuffled around over the past couple of weeks. The first domino to fall was AJ Allmendinger. A week ago last Thursday, he was abruptly shown the door by Roosevelt team owner Carl Russo. It just came as a complete bolt out of the blue. AJ is regarded as a rising star, not just in the ChampCar paddock, but around the racing world. He's been qualifying in the top 4 in every race so far this year. He was 4th in the points after the race at Milwaukee, but clearly there's much more to this story than meets the eye.
I'm happy to be out. That's what I wanted. The shock of it was just the timing, because we went from like 16th to 4th in the points. But the reasons why was not a shock. So, like I said, I was more than happy to be let go and look for better opportunities and really further my career and start enjoying myself again.
One day later, Cristiano D'Amato, the 2002 ChampCar champion, who started off the season with Dale Coyne Racing, was confirmed as a new driver of the number 10 Roosevelt car alongside Justin Wilson.
And it's something very exciting for me. It's a very big team, a very strong team. They're doing a great job this year in the championship with Justin, and hopefully I'll get used to everything here pretty quick, and I'll be able to be battling up front sooner than later. Obviously, I have to be very thankful for Dale for giving me the opportunity to drive there in his team, and I think we only had 4 races together, but had a lot of fun. We had some good results. Just will be always thankful for him.
So Cristiano's departure left a void at Dale Coyne Racing, which this week was filled by Mario Dominguez, who had been shown the door by Jerry Forsyth in somewhat strange circumstances.
I got sent an email last Saturday saying that my services would no longer be required. I assume it had to do with the accident in Milwaukee, which I would like to tell the people from ChampCar it was not my fault. And then if they review the video from last year where Bourdais and I battled it out for quite a while, and he goes on the inside of me, how much room you have to give the other driver that goes inside of you. So that was definitely not my fault. And then it was unfortunate that Paul Tracy had to be in the same zip code where I was, and unfortunately, he was behind us. He crashed, and that just became a terrible race for Forsyth in Milwaukee. And I guess with Forsyth being upset from Milwaukee, they decided to take me out.
For a while, we had the ludicrous situation whereby the American-based ChampCar World Series was without an American driver, but common sense prevailed, and AJ Allmendinger was snapped up by Forsyth Racing. He settled in very, very quickly.
That timing shocked me, but to get the chance with Forsyth and have them come right on board, I thought maybe in the short term that it was going to be a little hurtful to me career-wise, but in the long term it was going to be better anyways. Just turns out that in the short term it made it better as well.
On board with Justin, heading up down the front straight, topping up at 170 miles an hour, then hard on the brakes for the festival curves, down all the way to second gear here for this, back on the power. Now one thing about Portland is it has a lot of long duration corners, very high speed. We're heading up into a corner here, 5th gear down to 4th, very long. This is a 3-part corner through 3, 4, and 5. It's all about carrying speed through, then down another gear into the left-hander, all back to power. Really got a huge tendency for oversteer out of that corner. This is a super important corner. Get the power down. Huge run onto the back straight is what you need to have a good lap time here at Portland. Getting all the way up to almost 180 miles an hour down this back straight. That's sort of a corner here. You come up to one of the most exciting parts on the track. Quick stab on the brakes, quick left, quick right chicane, and then hard on the anchors through this last corner here, turn 12. Very important to get a good round down this really long front straightaway. There you go, there's a lap of Portland, the CBW car with Justin Wilson.
It was a fabulous qualifying session yesterday afternoon, and the Bridgestone Pole Award Pole Award winner was Bruno Junqueira. It was a very close fought thing, but he finally did it to take the 9th pole of his career. AJ Allmendinger, fastest on Friday, will start alongside. Bourdais back on row 2 with last year's runaway leader until the engine blew, Justin Wilson.
Cristiano D'Amata in his first race for Rousport on the inside of row 5 with Dan Clark, the highest qualifying rookie in the CTE car. Then we go down to Will Power, another rookie looking for a good result, and Nelson Philippe coming off his first podium last race in Milwaukee.
The next row will be 2 Canadians, Alex Tagliani and Paul Tracy. Paul always struggles here, back on the 5th row of the grid. Nicky Pastorelli, great run for Rocket Sports Racing. Oriol Servia is using Katherine Legge's backup. He's already crashed twice.
Young Canadian Andrew Ranger there finds himself 3rd in points, and Mario Dominguez on his debut for Dale Coyne. Then we go to Katherine Legge and Charles Wolfsman, both hoping for a good result here at Portland.
The final row of the grid, Jan Halen for the 2nd of the Dale Coyne racing cars, and Tonis Kazimets, the first ever driver from Estonia to make a start in the ChampCar World Series. He's 32 years of age, lives these days in Mundelein, Illinois. He's been over here for about the last 10 years. He's come up through the ranks in Formula Ford 2000. He was 2nd in last year's Atlantic Championship, and he's making his ChampCar debut this weekend, and absolutely thrilled about it. The green flag is out! When somebody's running through, I think it's Andrew Ranger took the shortcut there. He missed it. Amazingly, I think they did get through the corner. Amazing stuff, but what a fantastic start for AJ Allmendinger.
Oh, in trouble here for looks like maybe Tonis Kazimets, or is that
that's
Nicky
Nicky Pastorelli? He did a great job in qualifying. He was back on Friday, but he did a super job yesterday. He's got a puncture on that left rear wheel. What a shame for Nicky. Did a super job to qualify in 11th.
Get a replay.
He just spun. He just lost it on his own, didn't he?
Yeah, cold tires.
There you go.
That turbo spools up. Trust me, it's a handful to hold on to. It's really unfortunate.
Although maybe that left rear tire was going down, maybe that's why the car spun around. Hard to say cause or effect, we don't know. But the upshot of that is that AJ Allmendinger made a sensational start, as did his teammate PT, we'll see where he comes across the line. He's got ahead of Cristiano D'Amata, and Cristiano started 5th. Paul Tracy started 10th. There is a gap between 1st and 2nd. AJ Allmendinger out in front for the Forsyth Championship Racing team. It'll take me a while to get used to all this shuffling, I can tell you. But the lead over 2nd place, about 2.2 seconds over Dan Clark. Justin Wilson running in 3rd place. Then Junkie, the pole sitter, back in 4th. Bruno Junqueira, Paul Tracy, a magnificent start, going up into the top 5 and holding on now ahead of Cristiano D'Amata, Sebastian Bourdais and Nelson Philippe. But AJ Allmendinger, his last lap around a 1 minute .541, the fastest lap of the race thus far, set also by AJ Allmendinger on lap 5. That was a 1 minute .293, so setting into a very consistent pace at the front of the field.
Oh, was he? I think is that Dan missing the chicane there? Yeah, it is. He just outbroke himself heading to Festival Curves. Again, another godsend that area inside of Festival Curves there was paved, or else he'd be stuck in the gravel right now. Sounds like maybe a problem for Dan.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think something's clearly missing. He's still ahead of Justin Wilson, I think. So I'm not quite sure how he was able to get through there without. Well, I guess he just went straight on. But what you have to make sure as a driver is that you don't. Oh, he's got a problem right front. Right front problem there, clearly. You see that car, that right front wheel is flapping.
We're ready for you, we're ready.
They're ready in the pits for what a shame for Dan Clark. He's done a beautiful job this afternoon.
Really holding up Bruno there. Justin flew by. Oh, look at that. Now Paul's right on the back of Bruno. Dan dives in the pits. Look for Paul to maybe try and make a move on Bruno heading into the first corner here.
Okay,
Bruno is held up by the Jan Beek is in the pit. And Paul Tracy is alongside Bruno Junqueira on the inside. Here we go into the Festival Curves. Paul Tracy outbreaks Bruno Junqueira. Junqueira was held up a lot by Dan Clark coming off that critical turn.
And one of the tough things to do when you come in with a flat tire is trying to hit your marks. And Dan Clark may sound easy, but that's very, very difficult with a tire down. They go to the black sidewall bridge. Goes, wow! Didn't need very much fuel.
Good job.
But of course, he was fast in the pits, but lost all the time on the track with the puncture.
AJ onto pit lane. down to the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. He has to maintain that all the way down pit lane. His stoppage pretty early. Down to Cameron Steele.
He slid past Marks just a little bit, Derek, but they're going to the reds once again. I was talking to Michael Cannon. He said they love the balance on the car. They have 2 sets of stickers for later in the race, and they're going red now. I'm headed down to
Jon Beek is in
Yes, Justin Wilson, and behind him will be D'Amata. We watch AJ leave as they go to the black sidewall Bridgestones, and behind we'll watch the service for D'Amata. They want to get all the fuel on that car. We now look back and see if they'll, no, they do a different strategy. They go with the red sidewall Bridgestones for D'Amata, so they're splitting the strategy at Rousport. You only get 2 sets. This will be his last one. Bourdais beats him out. So Bourdais beats out D'Amata, but D'Amata's trying to challenge back.
Wow, great stuff there. Sebastian Bourdais, he has stayed out, so he has now led a lap. He will get a championship point for that, and the additional advantage of doing a lap on hot tires. Look at this, a great battle there. That is Paul Tracy and Cristiano D'Amata absolutely wheel to wheel through the festival curves. Great stuff.
Good racing there, Paul. Always good, always aggressive, trying to take advantage of the fact that these guys have just come out on cold tires. You see Sebastian dive into the pits. He was leading the race and made up some time in the clean air that he got down to the pits.
The most significant part of this pit stop is that it comes 1 lap later. Can you see what's on the radio? They're also going with the red Bridgestone sidewalls. And when you go 1 lap longer, that's going to help later in the race. That was 10.6 seconds, a little bit long. They took a lot of fuel.
Yeah, there goes Dan Clark. So Sebastian Bourdais is going to come out behind Dan Clark.
The reason, Derek, of course, if you can run 1 more lap, you're running your car when it's light and you're running it with hot tires, that's a huge benefit.
So the first round of pit stops is now in the books, is completed. AJ Allmendinger still out in the front of the motor race by about 8 seconds over Justin Wilson. And as we surmised, Dan Clark is able to get out in 3rd place ahead of Sebastian Bourdais. 34 laps in the books here in Portland. There is a move by Cristiano D'Amata down the inside of Paul Tracy. Tracy not able to defend that action. Can he make it back again into turn 2? I don't think so, James.
Wow, that was a pretty impressive move from Cristiano. I mean, he is on the fresher tires. He had just come out of the pits, got a lap to warm him up. Paul had just got by him when he did come out of the pits. It was a great retaliation move from Cristiano. Really impressive. Glad to see that kind of fight coming out of him. His first race with Rousport.
Sebastian Bourdais, he's now clear of traffic. Dan Clark pulled into the pit lane. Sebastian Bourdais has just set the fastest lap of the race. The first man below 1 minute, 59.766. So Sebastian is charging, and he has not yet given up on that opportunity to win 5 races in a row. So there is AJ Allmendinger, the race leader. From the green flag, we saw Sebastian lead 1 lap during the first round of pit stops, and right ahead of AJ Allmendinger is Dan Clark, who's running at the tail end of the lead lap in 9th place, but having already made his 2nd pit stop. AJ has not as yet made that 2nd pit stop of the day. Cristiano D'Amata, you will notice, the Rousport car number 10, the yellow and white car, is ahead of these 2 on the racetrack, i.e. he is ahead of Dan Clark, so that must have been a very quick pit stop by Cristiano D'Amata. We've already said we're going to make 3 pit stops in this race. They really need either 2 full pit stops and just a splash, or 3 equal length pit stops, or there's a bunch of ways you can play that strategy. I fancy that D'Amata make a very quick 2nd stop, and his 3rd stop will be sooner in order to get to the finish from there.
If you get the track position, it can help.
they had a problem. Fuel out of the car. Looks like they had a little bit of a mix-up there. They were going to short fuel the car and try to send him on his way quickly to go with a different type of strategy, says Neil Mickelwright, but you saw that when they were trying to get the receiver in there, he couldn't get it out quickly, and a little bit of a hiccup. And you can see AJ Allmendinger is in right now. He's going to be going to the blacks. He's already run both sets of reds. They said the car is perfect. We'll see how it plays out for him.
So there goes AJ Allmendinger. Jason Weatherford and the boys there changing all 4 tyres. He's now on the black sidewall tyres from the Bridgestone Potentials, the harder of the 2 compound tyres. There went Sebastian Bourdais, his car in the lead, yet to make his second pit stop. And look at that, AJ gets out just ahead of Bruno Junqueira and Justin Wilson. But look at that, AJ's on cold tyres and the other guys are on hot tyres, and he's defending his position there.
Oh, that's not allowed here. We'll see. I mean, he didn't seem to move over too much, but guy, running this close, you cannot run this close in these cars on this track. I don't know how they're doing it. They're going to be held up by AJ. Like you say, cold tires, full of fuel, and Justin is all over the back of Bruno. This is going to let AJ get away. This could be really good for Allmendinger. Perfect timing from the Forsyth guys in the pits.
So 75 laps now in the books. The lead of AJ Allmendinger, as you can see, it's extended somewhat. There is Justin Wilson in second place, and the last handful of laps after flat spotting that tyre, Justin Wilson lapping very consistently at around about 1 minute, 0.7 or 0.8. AJ Allmendinger, by contrast, running about a half a second a lap quicker, it seems, at this stage.
Yeah, I think AJ actually set his quickest lap of the time. Only the second driver to get into the 59-second bracket at a 59.859, bettered only by Sebastian on lap 60, who did a 59.766. So, you know, AJ saw an opportunity there to make up some ground, and he really put his foot down, and that's exactly what he needs to do. He is driving an extremely, extremely smart race, and at the end of the day, this could very well pay off for him.
Here is AJ for this final pit stop, and Cameron Steele is right there on the spot.
Okay, hold the wheel straight. Keep your foot on the brake. Okay, once you get ready, watch Jason. Play your helmet. There you go. Okay. Watch your speed.
Great stop by AJ Allmendinger, Jason Weatherford and the boys there on car number 7 for Forsyth Championship Racing. Could this be a storybook day for this for Jerry Forsyth's team? Jerry is not here this weekend. Already in the Atlantic race earlier, his driver and my co-host this afternoon, James Hinchcliffe, won the Atlantic race, the team's third victory of the year. The other guy, Andreas Wirth, won 2 Atlantic races earlier for Forsyth's team in Atlantic Series, and now AJ Allmendinger in his first start for this team, trying to get his first ChampCar victory ever. AJ Allmendinger is back in the lead of the motor race, 18 laps to go, and he's looking good. Almost 7 seconds now over Justin Wilson in second place. There is AJ's family. There's Lynn in the foreground, Greg on the right, and Mum behind as well, and they're all cheering on. They looked awfully nervous, James, didn't they?
Absolutely did. This will be the longest lap of all of their collective lives as AJ Allmendinger is on the final lap of this race, on track, first race with a new team, first win within his grasp. This is going to be an absolute fairy tale ending. You see his mom there, Brandy Latimer face of ChampCar, Lynn Cush in the foreground there, tears already welling up in their eyes. This is going to be quite a celebration.
He took his first ChampCar pole in Edmonton last year. He also claimed his first career fastest lap on this race. He's a former Team USA Scholarship winner. He's a former Barber Dodge Pro Series champion. He's a former Toyota Atlantic champion. He's Roche France Rookie of the Year 2 years ago. And now, finally, in his 32nd start, he's just seconds away from scoring the first victory of his career. And what an amazing moment for AJ Allmendinger. There he goes, fired 10 days ago, gets a new ride with Jerry Forsyth's team, and there it is, relief, jubilation, you name it for AJ Allmendinger.
You can't even imagine what that collective group is feeling right now. AJ going to stop in the customary area right inside the festival curves there. Got to visit it myself earlier today and do exactly what he is about to do. He's never done them before in this car. Let's see how he does them. Oh no, don't look away. Yes, we're all happy. Let's see donuts. There we go.
Nice job, my friend.
Ah, very tidy.
Not bad. Oh, look at that.
Paul Tracy would be proud.
Absolutely.
His former mentor is Paul Tracy, and there's AJ savouring the moment. Super race weekend all the way through. We've seen all sorts of excitement. A great run here by AJ Allmendinger to take the pole. All sorts of excitement. My name's Jeremy Shaw. I'm with James Hinchcliffe. My thanks also to Cameron Steele and Jon Beekes in the pits. We think it's been a fabulous race for you. We're so pleased to bring it to you. We're looking forward to doing it again in 1 week's time in Cleveland at the Burke Lakefront Airport. We'll see you then. Cleveland for round 6 of the ChampCar World Series. Hello, I'm Jeremy Shaw, joined once again by Atlantic driver James Hinchcliffe, and what an amazing story for AJ.
It really has been a great initiation into the Forsyth ChampCar team. You know, he comes there with his first race. He gets a pole on Friday, outside pole, starting spot for the race, grabs the first win, comes here for his second race and grabs pole, and looking very well to take his second win in only 2 starts for the team.
James, it's a wonderful place to go racing here. As you can see, it's a permanent airport for 362 days of the year. Very fast, average speed here about 135 miles an hour. A couple of good overtaking places and several good real rhythm sections to this racetrack, but it is very high speed, and it always creates some fantastic racing, and the crowd is lined up behind the pits, or in front of the pits now, because they've changed that situation around this weekend. So super views for the crowd. And James, take us on an onboard lap with Alex Tagliani.
Well, here we are with Alex in the Team Walker car, going through the first corner just there, up through the gears, all the way down for second for that last corner. Going up to the gears, they're going to reach 170 miles an hour down through this 3-4 complex. It's really important to carry speed in but get a good run out of here. Alex getting a little bit of oversteer there. A run down this straightaway is really important. You're back up to 165 miles an hour before you're back on the brakes again. It's a left-right sequence through this corner. Back to power, float a lot of speed in. Heading into turn 7 now, really bumpy section of the racetrack. Watch his hands as he fights it. On the brakes, down a gear, through corner 8. This is the only wall on the track to hit, and sadly enough, a lot of drivers seem to find it. It's one of the slickest corners on the racetrack. Up through the gears, 180 miles an hour, slam on the anchors, only down 2 gears, 5th gear, quick, right, left chicane, onto the front straight, and that is a lap here at the Cleveland Burke Lakefront Airport circuit.
The second Bridgestone pole award of his young career, AJ Allmendinger, a stunning effort. Sebastian Bourdais, quickest on Friday, has to make do with the outside of the front row. Justin Wilson, he will start on row 2 alongside Oriol Servio. A big jump for PKV Racing after a disaster in Portland.
Paul Tracy on the inside of row 3, despite that that crash just before qualifying, and Nelson Philippe, a great run in the CTE HVM car. Then we go down to Bruno Junqueira on the inside of the 4th row, not able to match the pace of his teammate, and Alex Tagliani, who's finished in the top 5 3 of the last 4 years here in Cleveland.
So Will Power is behind the 8 ball, he feels, as a result of that wet practice on Friday morning, but there's still a good job to start on row 6, 5 of the grid alongside Cristiano D'Amata. Dan Clark is there on row 7 with Andrew Ranger, ranks row 6 with Andrew Ranger, who still stands 4th in the points.
Charles Wolfsman, who won both Atlantic races last year here in Cleveland, looking for a good result, and a good strong run from Katherine Legge in the PKV Racing car. We go on to the 8th row, we got Nicky Pastorelli for Rocket Sports Racing, and number 11, Jan Halen in the Dale Coyne Racing Machine.
The final row of the grid, the second Adele Coyne cars for Mario Dominguez and Tonis Kazimets, who had a good run here last year in the Atlantics, a 2nd and a 4th place finish and a pole. He will start last in his second ChampCar start for the Rocket Sports team. For Mario Dominguez, he starts on the back row as a result of this shunt yesterday morning. If you look very carefully, the front wing fell off that car as he went into turn 8. 84 G's that impact with the wall there in turn 8. A massive shunt, destroyed the front of the car, and for the second time in 3 races, the Dale Coyne Racing crew has had to work all night to prepare their backup car, James.
Yeah, that clip really doesn't do that crash justice. That was a really hard hit. Mario took quite a licking there, but he bounced back. They weren't able to get the car back in time for qualifying, so that's why he's starting from the 17th position.
There is the green flag, and already is Charles Walton. I think that was on the outside there. Down to the inside goes Justin Wilson, trying to sneak past, but round the outside of everybody goes Bruno Junqueira.
Oh my God! Oh, another car off in the grass. Several cars off in the grass. PT being sandwiched in the middle there. We got a car around.
Andrew Ranger spins around, so he got lost. He was the one who lost out on that shuffle on the exit of the corner. At least they all made it to the apex. Oh no!
Paul, that's Paul Tracy. Oh, he keeps it going. He didn't beach the car, but there's definite damage to that car.
There is to at least one of those rear wheels. I think there is damage to the rear suspension on.
And Sebastian Bourdais off, it looks like.
So, boy, this has been a very strange start. They seem to get through that corner pretty cleanly, but apparently not the case. There is Andrew Ranger. Clearly he has lost the power on that engine. Here comes the ChampCar safety car team, and the pace car has been scrambled as well. Paddy Hughes driving the pace car. Wow, look at this.
Oh, look at that.
That's PT on top and
on
over
top of Bourdais.
Bourdais.
Not the first time those two have come together, certainly, and we saw as PT exited corner 1, he was being sandwiched in between two cars. Apparently, one of them, Bourdais, maybe Bourdais didn't realize he was there, came across,
out in the grass.
and Bourdais, I do not think that car will get back going this afternoon, Jeff.
Wow, that is a disaster for Newman Haas Racing. Sebastian Bourdais, he was disappointed not to claim the pole position. He was disappointed last year.
And Allmendinger pits.
That's it, second of the Forsyth cars. Here's again a replay of the start. You can see that Paul Tracy had to dodge to miss that cone on the inside, and here he is. They seem to be lined up. Well, there's Bruno Junqueira going all the way around the outside, and look at those two there. That is, I think that was, you could see there, it's Oriol Sergio, I think, and Paul Tracy.
He's the one who comes back on.
And there were 3 cars side by side. There is AJ. AJ is coming into the pit lane. There were 3 abreast coming off turn 1. Here's a look from on board Alex Sagliani. Let's watch him. The cone goes flying from Oriol Sergio. He gets pushed off by
CT cars. Yeah. Oh, and then contact there as he pushes one of the Rocket Sports cars wide.
I think it was Andrew Ranger who spun off there to the outside. Here is AJ Allmendinger on pit lane.
And believe it or not, both the Forsyth cars, we saw what happened to Paul Tracy, but look behind. AJ Allmendinger had to have a new nose cone replaced, came in with front wing damage. Now they're going to try to work on Paul Tracy's car, but certainly with the height that that car took, you would think that there might be more damage.
Finally, let's hope we can get at least one lap of complete racing, green flag racing under our belts. Oriol Sergio, a great jump there at the green flag. He leads clearly into turn 1. Justin Wilson in the CDW car, tucking behind in second place.
Everybody else seems to get through the corner all right. We just have the tail end of the field coming through, and there seems to be no issues. On board with Justin Wilson as he chases down race leader Oriol Sergio, who did get a great jump on that start. Another race at Cleveland, another turn 1 incident. We're finally under green here at this race. Oh no, that is contact. Nicky Pastorelli in one of the Forsyth cars. Paul Tracy.
It is Paul Tracy. So Nicky Pastorelli there. PT's getting a little over-exuberant there as he tries to get going again, and things are just going from bad to worse for Paul Tracy this weekend. There is Nicky Pastorelli. It looked like a pretty bold move. Look, he's lost the left front wheel hanging off that car. That's the end of his day, and I think that is almost certainly going to bring out a full course caution for the 3rd time.
This wasn't a bold move. This was simply just missing your braking point and having nowhere to go, as the caution does come out now for Nicky's car off just on the outside of turn 1 there. I think he just really missed his braking point, looking in his mirrors, trying to keep Nelson behind him, and PT was an unfortunate victim in that one.
Reset the order for you again. Bruno Junqueira out in front. You can see the crawler across the top of the screen. AJ Allmendinger in second place. Mario Dominguez third, of course, driving now for Dale Coyne Racing. Behind Dominguez is Paul Tracy.
Well, I'm caught up with Paul Gentilozzi, the owner of Team Rocket Sports and the owner for Nicky Pastorelli, the number 8 car. What did he say happened? Have you had a chance to talk to him?
Yeah, I have, and it was obvious to him that Tracy's car was wounded because he couldn't settle in. The car was ill handling, so Nicky tried to go inside. Paul doesn't give up real estate very easily, unfortunately, and Nicky got the worst end.
Here we go, the green flag is out again, and I was told if they come in on lap 8, you need about 8 laps of yellow to be able to make it to the end of the race with just 3 pit stops. We haven't quite got that standard yet since they made those pit stops, but it's certainly very, very close. So we'll see how the strategy plays out. There's Mario Dominguez in 3rd place, Paul Tracy with was that Katherine Legge there? She is 1 lap down, is Katherine, so PT moves himself through. He's running in 4th place, and as I say, he is struggling with that car, but running quickly.
I can't believe still how Paul Tracy's in 4th place in this race after having been airborne, having been hit in corner 1, having made 2 pit stops at the beginning of this race, and he still finds himself in 4th. This car is acting like the man himself. It's an absolute tank this afternoon.
Yeah, that car is absolutely bulletproof, isn't it? Literally.
Yeah, it is.
It's been hit from all sides.
I can't comprehend how not only is this car still circulating, it's still circulating in 4th place as AJ Allmendinger passes for the lead. Bruno Junqueira into the 910 chicane.
Great move by AJ Allmendinger. He got a great run off of turn 8 onto the fastest part of the racetrack, up to around about 180 miles an hour going into the 910 chicane, and a brilliant move down the inside. Here's a battle coming down now under braking. There is Justin Wilson and Dan Clark. Yes, Dan Clark. So Dan, the 2 Englishmen, they're battling now for 7th and 8th places. It's Wilson that takes over that position.
We see one of the Forsyth cars in the wall. It looks like Paul Tracy. I think I see a red number 3 on the nose cone of that car. Yes, it is indeed Paul Tracy. Has put in the wall in corner 8. Like I was saying, that's a slippery corner and the only wall to hit. And not the first time this weekend, certainly not the first time in his career that Paul has found this wall. Absolutely disappointing considering everything that him and that car have been through so far. this race as we watch the replay here. Just gets
like
loose.
he
and
understeered
puts
in the middle of the corner, and then it sort of snaps around, and maybe he's trying to gas it to try and get it, induce some oversteer and bring it back under control. But you run out of room really quickly down there in turn 8, don't you?
Justin Wilson in the wall. Sorry, Jeremy.
Justin Wilson has thrown away a top 4 finish.
Oh, that's brutal. Justin coming in here 30 points behind Sebastian. A good finish with Sebastian out of the race would have really closed up the championship fight here. Oh, we need to see a replay of that. And here we go, on board
Coming
with Justin.
Turn 3 and turn 4.
Another suspension failure.
The green flag is out, and Justin Wilson leads down to the first corner. Great start by him, and a wonderful start by Bourdais, but he slides wide. He throws away that advantage, and both of the Forsyth cars, well, one got past and one got alongside him. This is going to be interesting down Shoreline Drive, the fastest part of the course, and we're going to see the racing area for turn 3. Here it comes.
All the cars spread out now. AJ, I don't know if he's defending or trying to pass. That could be a questionable move there. PT wasn't able to stay ahead of Bourdais as they head now. Oh, everybody's snaking through turn 3. It seems like we got through incident-free for the 2 big areas of the track that we were expecting to see crashes. So good job for all the guys to get through lap 1 so far.
I'm lucky I'm not a betting man, because I think I might have lost a packet on that, but I said there was no way that everybody was going to get through those first couple of corners on this opening lap. But hats off to these guys. They all did a clean start. Bourdais make a big move at the first corner. It didn't come off, but at least he kept it under control, James.
Yeah, that could have been very costly for him if he had tapped the outside wall there, a pit stop, and potentially the end of his race there. But Justin Wilson out to a great lead for the first lap. AJ Allmendinger holding on in second. Now Paul Tracy stays in fourth with Sebastian Bourdais in the 3rd position. As we see one of the HVM cars locking up there, that's Nelson Philippe, who's moved up 2 spots into the 5th position.
And let's talk a little bit about the Cosworth power to pass this weekend. We've gone down on the base horsepower from 750 to 725 horsepower, but when they press the Cosworth power to pass, they get an extra 75 horsepower rather than the usual 50. There's Oriol Servia making a move on Andrew Ranger. As actually Ranger was trying to get past Oriol Servia. That is a battle for 6th place, and he wasn't able to pull it off. So we have still the usual 60 seconds worth of the Cosworth power to pass, but a 75 horsepower hike instead of the usual 50. Looks like Dan Clark has spun it around there. He was battling for 14th, 15th, 16th place with Tony Kazimierz and guess whom? Katherine Legge. Yes, well, here's a replay of here. There's Kazimierz there, and down to down to the inside there, and is Charles Waltzman who cuts off Dan there. It's just sort of too many cars in too short a space of time there. Katherine was behind those 2, and poor old Dan there is left stalled in the middle of the race. Let's have another look at this, James.
Yeah, you see Charles coming in here. He doesn't even know Dan's there. He's so focused on getting by Tonise that he turned in, and Dan was already there. That's pretty much a racing incident, you know. I mean, he was just, like I said, he was looking in front of him, had no idea a car was coming up on him.
So there is Nelson Philippe, the CTE HVM car number 4 in the lead of the race. The 2nd race in a row that the youngster has led. He was the youngest driver ever to start a ChampCar race when he began his ChampCar career 2 years ago at the age of 17 years, 8 months and 25 days. Amazing. And back then, when he made his debut in the ChampCars, he'd only ever done 1 season of racing before. Here is AJ Allmendinger down to the inside of Oriol Servia. Textbook pass.
Absolutely brilliant. AJ was on the Cosworth power to pass the whole way down Lakeshore there. Got the pass done. Oriol really couldn't do anything. He knows AJ's got a quicker car, and so he conceded that position relatively easily. But great move from AJ. That kind of throws my previous theory about saving fuel and staying behind those 2 at the window. But hey, he's got to do what he's got to do, right?
Here we are. They're down to the pit lane. There is our race leader, Nelson Philippe. The guys are laid out in the pit lane, and he is going to be coming in this time around, James Inchcliffe.
It's going to be important. AJ Allmendinger's got the gap down to just half a second now on the lap that Nelson comes in. He really needs his in and out laps to be good. He did a relatively good one. He dives into the pits. AJ inherits the lead now, and we're going to try and send it down to Jan Beekes in the pits to call to call Nelson Philippe pit stop with the CTE HVM crew as they go to work now.
And of course, what they're looking for something less than 10 seconds, and all you have to do as a tire changer is beat the fuel. They've added a little bit of front wing, still waiting for fuel. Wow, that's a lot of fuel. That was slower than I would expect for a first stop with the head pressure, Derek. There's a lot of fuel in the tank. Normally you can fill it faster than that. That was just under 12 seconds.
So, very interesting indeed. Bourdais has just turned his best lap, a 61.053, so he's really doing a super job there. He is really turning up the wick on that car. They're waiting for the Forsyth guys to come onto pit lane. Here is AJ Allmendinger. He pulls that car onto pit lane. He's completed lap 49, so he's got 37 laps to go, and that's what he's got to. If there's any more caution periods, he's going to need it, but otherwise, Jon Beek
Make
is
it as obvious as possible to try and get the attention of both the Forsyth drivers. We're watching them together. Derek, you suspected that maybe they didn't take as much fuel for AJ Allmendinger, but in fact they did. In the meantime, let's go to Cameron.
Right now, looking at the front wing of Sebastian Bourdais, it doesn't look like there's any damage, just some normal chipping and discoloring that they have, just waiting for fuel to get in, and he's away.
So there goes Sebastian Bourdais. This is fascinating strategy. There goes Nelson Philippe past. There goes Bruno Junqueira. So they've both got certainly one more pit stop to make. As Tony's Casimir does a good job of just about staying out of the way. The two Forsyth cars are back on the track, very close together.
I was going to say that was a bit of a bad situation for AJ there. Got held up by Tony's leaving the pits, and he really needs these outlaps now to be quick and to be clean. So it's a good thing that he got by him when he did. Another thing I noticed there during Bourdais' pit stop, his right rear tire changer dropped the wheel nut and was able to get it back on in time. Luckily, the fuel takes longer than the tires on these pit stops, so no harm, no foul there. Sebastian out cleanly, and the deficit now, I mean, obviously Paul's probably the big winner in that one. He went from a 3-second gap to now it looks like probably about a 1-second gap to AJ, so he's within striking distance.
If that, but the man in the lead of the motor race is Oriol Servio. Now here he is, Oriol. He's been turning a string of fast laps. He was behind these guys before he came onto pit lane. Now he is he's on a sort of regular two-stop strategy, and it's going to be very, very interesting now because it's all down to what pace they can get out of their tires, particularly late on in the stint. 61.9 last time around for Oriol Servio. Made his last pit stop on lap 25, so we're now on 53. What's that? 28 laps. So another. Oh, here he is right now. Okay, fine. And great strategy, I think, by PKV. He'll probably rejoin in about fifth or sixth places, I would believe. There's a crucial pit stop now for the PKV boys. Don Oldenburg and the crew will go to work on the car number 6.
Oriol Servio has hit pit road for his scheduled pit stop. Of course, he's a little bit out of sequence because he had a tire going down. This is a black set of Bridgestones, and they're stickers. Brand new tires for Oriol Servio, and sometimes they say those sticker tires are brand new ones. The first couple of laps are awesome.
So there we go, Oriol Servio, and great strategy. He gets out ahead of Justin Wilson, so brilliant strategy, I think, by the PKV racing team. They're able to time, they know exactly how long it takes to make a pit stop, and they were able to bring Oriol in and still get out ahead of Justin Wilson, who's running now in 7th place. Whoa.
Oh, big wreck. Nelson Philippe, Oriol Servio in the tires pretty hard. That's not good at all. I'm trying to figure out which corner that's in. It appears to be in corner 3. Yep. As we've seen, a very incident-packed corner. Both drivers appear to be moving.
What a shame. That was a battle for 5th place. Oriol Servio was ahead of Nelson Philippe, certainly on the last lap, and it looks like they've tangled at the end of Lakeshore Boulevard, and it looks like a pretty big wreck indeed, doesn't it? So this is going to be a lengthy clean-up period. The pits, of course, now will be closed. I don't think that's really relevant because I believe everybody who needs to make a pit stop has done so, and now anybody who had any lingering concerns over their fuel consumption, those are going to be alleviated as well. So when we go back to green, we are going to have a no-holds-barred thrash to the finish line here in Toronto.
It's going to be very interesting because, you know, we're under full course yellow now, obviously, with this wreck here, and you've got the Forsyth teammates, AJ Allmendinger and Paul Tracy, 1-2 in the front of this field.
Here's a replay. There's Nelson Philippe apparently misjudging his attempt to dive down the inside of Oriol Servio. They were very close together there. Certainly Oriol didn't leave him much room, and it looked to me like Oriol should have been farther across to the left at that point on the racetrack. That is a general racing line, but Nelson clearly was still on the throttle when Oriol began to lift off to get ready to get on the brakes for turn 3. Philippe hits the back of Servio's car, and then a heavy impact with the tire barrier. This is going to be it. This is going to be the race. We've got 4 laps to go as they come across the line. Look at that sideways slide by AJ Allmendinger. He tries to get on the power, loses a bit of a momentum, but out comes the green flag.
He still has a really sizable gap back to Paul Tracy. I'm surprised how good of a run he got considering that oversteer that we saw there, but as we see a move coming down now, one of the Aussie Vineyards cars on Andrew Ranger. probably Will Power, maybe not.
I think that was Zwartzman maybe trying to make a move on Will. It's not for position because Ranger is a lap down, so he couldn't get out of the way. But here is Sebastian Bourdais looking to the outside there at Paul Tracy. A bit of a defensive line perhaps from PT. Whoa, another slide from AJ.
You see the 2 black marks he left on the track there. He is battling with a little bit of a loose car right now. Anxious right foot there with AJ Allmendinger, but he still is maintaining his gap, and Paul's being hounded by Sebastian.
The best news for AJ Allmendinger, right in Paul Tracy's mirrors, is Sebastian Bourdais. That is the good news for AJ, because PT, does not want to be overtaken by anybody, least of all Sebastian Bourdais.
So here we are in the final lap. Again, another try from a guy who is driving like a champion. Fast when he needs to be, saves fuel when he needs to do it. He's just on fire.
Everybody used their Cosworth power to pass on Lakeshore Boulevard that time around. I don't think there are any changes of position. So it's going to be, I think, AJ Allmendinger with win number 3 in a row. There's his mum as well. They're just biting that they can't wait to see the checkered flag come out. But just about 3 corners to go now for AJ Allmendinger, 24 years of age. The youngster, he lives in Denver, Colorado. He's going to be moving away from there fairly shortly. Recently engaged. He gets fired by Roosevelt, hired by Jerry Forsyth, and here it is. Win number 3 in a row for AJ Allmendinger. Who would have thought it? I mean, we know the guy's quick, but he seemed to be getting the job done very respectably at the Roosevelt team, and here he comes away. We've got a hat-trick. Look at that.
Absolutely fantastic result. But now AJ's taken 3. We now have a very interesting situation. We have the first chance, I think, in a long time to have 2 drivers in the same season to go for 4 straight victories. Sebastian did it with the first 4 races of the year. Now AJ's in a position to do it heading into Edmonton, where, if you remember, he had his first career pole position and was very much in control of that race before a late mistake.
So here are the unofficial results of the ChampCar, the Molson ChampCar Grand Prix of Toronto. AJ Allmendinger wins a 3rd in a row. Paul Tracy, Sebastian Bourdais rounds out the podium. The pole sitter Justin Wilson has to make do with 4th place, and here we go.
Concentrate on your moves. Go.
Bridgestone presents the ChampCar World Series, powered by Ford. The sights, the sounds, the exhilaration of a 185-mile-an-hour festival of speed. Hello and welcome to the Jag Flow Speedway at Edmonton City Centre Airport. I'm Jeremy Shaw, and alongside me today, instead of James Hinchcliffe, who's busy preparing himself for this afternoon's Atlantic Championship race, I'm joined by ChampCar News Manager Eric Mork. Eric, thanks for joining us. What a great place to go racing.
Absolutely, a great racetrack. This is an event that is rapidly becoming one of the jewels on the ChampCar schedule. Great fan support, and the crowds are filling up. The drivers love coming out here, and this is a track they really get racy on. They look forward to it. They talk about it for weeks afterwards. It's going to be a great race today.
And for the 4th time this season, Sebastian Bourdais in the McDonald's car off Newman House Racing comes up with the Bridgestone Pole Award. A tremendous run by him yesterday in qualifying. Alongside him on the front row will be Paul Tracy. It's his first front row start of the season. It's been 15 races since he last won. Justin Wilson and AJ Allmendinger, former teammates, will start together on row 2.
Oriol Serbia, 3 consecutive top 5 starting spots. Nelson Philippe starts 6th, matching a career high. Will Power was penalized for blocking at the end of yesterday's qualifying, drops back to 7th. Andrew Ranger, another top 10 starting spot, starting 8th.
On row 5 of the grid will be Bruno Junqueira. He was 3rd quickest on Friday, but crashed in the 2nd session of qualifying yesterday. Mario Dominguez, a great run for Dale Coyne Racing. Back on row 6 of the grid, Alex Tagliani, his worst starting position of the season, and Jan Halen had an electrical problem in the final session.
The rookie Charles Wolzman starts 13th. Cristiano D'Amata has been fast in every session except final qualifying, mired back in 14th. Katherine Legge takes from 15th. She won here last year in the Atlantics. Nicky Pastorelli starts 16th.
The green flag comes out, and Sebastian Bourdais leads the field again, cleanly down to turn 1. Again, single file this time out, no passing manoeuvres attempted there at all. Paul Tracy, I believe, was trying to use the power to pass, but he wasn't able to get close enough to Sebastian Bourdais to even think about making a move in turn 1.
He most definitely did. He got on the power to pass very early, coming out of 14, but made no gain on Sebastian All. Like you said, Jeremy, a great start by the Flying Frenchman.
So Sebastien Bourdais leads from Paul Tracy, and there's a great jump hit that Sebastien Bourdais has got without using any of his Cosworth power to pass. You can see the advantage he has over this man, Paul Tracy. Been under quite a bit of pressure the last few races since the arrival of AJ Allmendinger. Allmendinger, of course, he'd never won a race in the Champ Cars in a year, in a couple of years. He joined this team at Portland. He won at Portland. He's won 3 in a row coming in here. So the pressure very much on Paul Tracy, but he bounced back very strongly at Toronto, his hometown. He had a great run to second place there. Actually had a better lap than AJ, and he's kind of settled into that position. Yeah, they're all going to catch this man, the McDonald's car of Newman Haas Racing, and Sebastien Bourdais. He's just making hay while the sun shines here in the prairie land in Edmonton, Alberta, pulling away with every lap.
Nelson Philippe, Andrew Ranger go 1 lap early, the first of the leaders to pit. Both of them get good service from their crews and get back underway. AJ Allmendinger just ran his fastest lap of the race, so he can't be feeling that bad. He just turned to 60.6.
Yeah, he's not very consistent though. As you saw last time around, a couple of laps ago, was a 62-second lap, so he seems to be struggling. Jon Beekers in the pit lane.
And of course, this should be a great stop for Sebastien Bourdais, the fact that he's leading, but it's not good that he has to stop in front of the other leaders. You want to stop as late as you possibly can, and you can see it took a lot of fuel. Just over 10 seconds, a routine stop. He went with sticker tires, and now we have a new leader on the racetrack, and this, Derek, is when you really have to push. If someone pits before you, you stand on it and make some ground.
So there is the new race leader, Paul Tracy. He will gain, of course, a bonus championship point for leading this race. Last time around, he turned his best lap of the race, a 60.534. Can he really turn up the wick now? And maybe if he can stretch his fuel even one more lap, maybe that would play into his advantage, as Eric was saying a little while ago. We have no tyre warmers, of course, in the ChampCar World Series, so when you come out of the pits on a full tank of fuel and cold tyres, it's very difficult to turn to quick laps right away. But there is PT. He is going to do one more lap, and this, even though he had a big deficit, it was 8 seconds. I think that is going to be too much to overcome, even though he stops at least 2 laps later. But he's certainly giving it his all now, Eric.
As we predicted, he and Justin both, they stayed out a couple extra laps and are taking advantage of those. Both of them running their fastest laps. 60.4 laps. Looks like Katherine Legge has had another problem. She has lost her rear wing again. Can't tell quite where on the track where she was. It looked like turn 7 and 8. She seems to be back underway, but she's going to have to go back in and get another rear wing. Amazingly, these are the first laps that Paul Tracy has led all season long.
You're right, he's the 6th all-time lap leader in the ChampCar World Series, but you're right, he led all bar a couple of races last year, only 2 races in the whole season he didn't lead at one stage or another last year. But this year, not been the same story. But there is Katherine. She won this race, of course, in the Atlantic Series last year, absolutely brilliantly, passing in the late stages Charles Waltzman. But this weekend, nothing going right for her. But now here we see the pit stops for the race leader, Paul Tracy, and Justin Wilson in second place. And we're going to go down to the pit lane one more time. This is in AJ Allmendinger's pit, waiting for him to come in on the lollipop.
And at the meantime, Paul Tracy is ahead of him, getting the service. The tires are already done. They're just waiting on the fuel. And same thing with AJ Allmendinger. Paul Tracy. Oh! And Justin Wilson beats him out. Awesome. Justin Wilson must have short filled, beat him out. AJ Allmendinger now underway.
Very interesting strategy there. Well, Tracy runs a bit wide coming out of the pit lane, clips a cone there. And we were told by Tony Cotton, if he doesn't clip a cone under any circumstances, there may well be a penalty. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I think that cone really wasn't part of the race. Let's have a look again at the replays. You can see Paul Tracy is in the pit, then Allmendinger behind him and Justin Wilson behind that. A very fast stop by the Rousport team of Justin Wilson gets him out in the fray, not only ahead of Paul Tracy, but did he come out of Sebastien ahead of Bourdais as well? We shall have to wait and see. There again goes PT, but the CDW car of Justin Wilson out ahead of him, and we've got fairly wide pit windows here for the team, so we saw the opportunity to pit. They came in on lap 36. They can go to lap 72 therefore on their next pit stop around about lap 70 if there's no yellows, and that will leave them only a 15 lap run to the end of the motor race. So they can come in anywhere between 15 laps from now and 35 laps from now and be able to get to the end of this motor race. So a very interesting strategy there by the Rousport team. Get their man out certainly ahead of Paul Tracy and see if he can make any inroads into the lead of Sebastian Bourdais. And we see that Bourdais did get out comfortably ahead of both Wilson and Paul Tracy, but certainly a great strategy, I think, by Rousport, and we'll now see how fast that CDW car of Justin Wilson is. Can he reel in our race leader, Sebastian Bourdais? That is the gap between the first two cars, Sebastian Bourdais and Justin Wilson. AJ Allmendinger now 12 seconds back in third place. Then a gap of 11 seconds to Oriol Servia, running very well for PKV Racing in fourth. And about 3 seconds back to Paul Tracy after that spin we saw, or we didn't see a little while ago. And then behind Paul Tracy, about 15 seconds farther back, is the first of the Team Australia cars. That would be Will Power, far and away the best place of the rookies this afternoon. Nelson Philippe still right behind him in 7th place. Then a gap back to Andrew Ranger. And as you said, Eric, all the other guys 1 lap down, led by Alex Tagliani and Bruno Junqueira.
We didn't see it, but we've had a pass for the lead. Justin Wilson got on that power to pass coming down that long backstretch heading into turn 9 and got around Sebastian. Sebastian did get on the power to pass, but got on a bit too late. Justin has gotten around him and has taken the lead of this motor race.
So there he is. He has made that aggressive move. We thought he had. That's what he had to do. If he was going to make a challenge for this race, he had to get past him. That's exactly what he has done. So we have our third different race leader of the afternoon. Justin Wilson leads the motor race, and that is exactly what he needs to do. As we said earlier on, he's had a very good season, Justin, but he's only led 3 races. Here's a replay now. You can see he's on the power to pass button. He moves to the inside going into turn 10, and a clean pass down the inside. Great move there by Justin Wilson. This is a crucial part of the race for Justin Wilson, ex of Formula 1, of course, and he's really been showing his mettle in the ChampCar World Series over the last couple of years. Now he knows the pressure is on. Here he is, onto pit lane. So now it's down to Robert Mitkiff and the boys, car number 9. Jan Beekis is waiting for the Rousport car, the CDW car, coming 50 miles an hour, the speed limit on pit lane. He'll pull into the pit. He'll need a top of fuel, and here is Jan Beekis.
It's early compared to the others, but it is splitting the strategy, just like Jeremy Dale had told us. So they're going to take on what fuel they need to get to the end, but the good news is Justin Wilson loves the car on the Blackbridge zone. That was a nice quick stop, about 8.5 seconds. He'll give up the lead here, but they expect to get the lead back when the rest of the guys pit.
And it's now Sebastian Bourdais. Wow, look at that. He responds a 59.614. So not only did he take the lead, he retakes the bonus point for fastest lap of the race. That's really getting down to the nitty-gritty here. We're turning some very fast laps as we get down to the closing stages of this race. 23 laps to go. We've got the Rousport car of Justin Wilson in the lead, the Newman Haas Racing car of Sebastian Bourdais in second, and then the 2 Forsyth Championship Racing cars of AJ Allmendinger and Paul Tracy. And we're going back to yellow one more time. It is Nelson Philippe who's found himself in the wall.
And it appears he had finally gotten around Will Power, the first time he'd been able to actually get around the Australian rookie, and that appeared to have lasted about half a lap for the Frenchman.
Oh boy, what a shame for Nelson. He's just been super the last half a dozen races or so, and here's a replay. Look at that, a huge sideways slide. Wow, it's pretty slippery out there. He just got on the marbles there, didn't he? Trying to get around. I think that was probably Oriol actually who was struggling out on the marbles there, pushed offline by Paul Tracy, and there was Nelson Philippe trying to take advantage, but that track, we could just see that no grip whatsoever. Once you get offline here, the little marbles of racetrack, the little bits of balls of rubber that roll off the sides, that is Oriol Servia running wide there to the right-hand side, but here comes Nelson Philippe. He turns in there, he's on line, but he just has to correct the car a little bit. He gets the back end snaps out a little bit under braking, and he tries to correct it, finds himself in the marbles and then into the wall. So that'll be a massive disappointment for the young Frenchman. The white flag is flying for Justin Wilson. So we've got just 1 lap to go, less than 2 miles. There is a slower car in front of him. There is Carl Russo, David Brown, the technical director on the right-hand side. Less than 2 miles to go for Justin Wilson.
Looks like Tagliani's going to finish this race in the pit. A.J. Allmendinger just sat on that power to pass button that entire last lap and turned to 59.9, his fastest lap, but it's not going to be fast enough to run down what Justin did, which underscores even more what Justin was able to do.
It does indeed, and the last lap by Justin was a 59.7. Sebastian Bourdais only a 62-second lap, so a big difference. There's Andrew Ranger getting out of the way of Justin Wilson. So now just 4 more corners to go for the Englishman. He's done an absolutely superb job this afternoon, has Justin Wilson, 27 years of age. He's got a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks, and now just the final chicane to go. Here he comes through to 13, left-handed through 14. The checkered flags are waving, and there is the victory goes to the CDW car of the Rousport team and Justin Wilson. Hugely, richly deserved by that team. They've been knocking on the door all season long. 4 second place finishes he's had, and finally that first win.
A big win for Justin, and just to keep pace, Sebastian did everything he could do to steal that fastest lap on his last time around. Ran a 59.242, just 200ths away from stealing that point back from Justin on the very last lap, as we see the lanky Brit burning the Bridgestone Potenzas off of that Rousport mount.
We are going to form up the field one more time. I don't think there'll be too many rows side by side, but there we go, second time around, pretty much single file, but Paul Tracy has got a huge jump. And there he is, they're not allowed to use the Cosworth power to pass until they get down to the first corner. Sebastian Bourdais is looking to go down the inside.
Oh, and AJ's wing's been hit off. Sebastian knew he wasn't going to make that. He checked up, and AJ hit him and dislodged his wing. There's some wheels interlocked there with maybe looks like Justin Wilson, but it seemed like the rest of the field got through okay.
Well, that was the same case in your race this morning, James. Everybody made it through the first lap, through their hairpin on the first lap, and you can see the damage on A.J. Allmendinger's car. He for sure is going to be into the pits at the end of the first lap. He is now hoping there's going to be some sort of incident which will cause a full course yellow. That's not the case, so he's going to have to lift that car back to pit lane.
Yeah, he's going to have to be very careful with that wing dislodged. We're going to look at a replay on board with him. You see Sebastian dives to the inside, Paul's just too far forward, and Sebastian really slows up to make sure there's no contact between him and Paul, but unfortunately AJ got caught out there. So what we're going to have to look for now is if AJ's wing maybe cut down Sebastian's tire. It's happened before.
And I don't understand why AJ was so tight there. He's in the middle of the racetrack. He's left the door open on the outside for Cristiano Domana to try and make a move. Jon Beekes.
And they're going to go ahead and go for the front nose. Obviously, it'll be a fairly lengthy change to try and get that front nose changed. We also look over the wall and see for a moment they had the tires out for Sebastian Bourdais. They were thinking about stopping Sebastian. At the moment, it appears as though his right rear tire is still up. 20 seconds and counting. What they're trying to do, guys, obviously, is try not to go down one lap.
And it generally takes about 25 seconds or so to change the nose on that Lola. There's 6 mounting points on... Another incident. That is Bruno Junqueira and we believe Oriol Servia. They've come together in turn 1, apparently. It must have been... Was that under yellow? Because I don't think they crashed there on the initial start. So we'll have to find out what happened to those two. But clearly a big accident there. That has played into the favour, into the hands. There's a punt there. Will Power got together into the back of Bruno Junqueira, and Oriol Servia absolutely nowhere to go.
And we just saw Sebastian Bourdais go by Paul Tracy under yellow. Clearly Paul's been told to let Sebastian go, but I'm not sure as to why race control would have done that.
Yeah, we will try and find out what the situation was there. We didn't see any note on our race control communication, but we'll keep an eye out to find out what happened there. But as you say, clearly it was a deliberate move there by Paul. He pulled over and allowed Sebastian to go through. So I can only presume that the officials must have adjudged that Paul Tracy jumped too soon when the green flag came out.
And the green flag is out. We are back underway. All 3 of the top 3 cars, top 4 cars are on their push to pass.
A very clean start this time around, and as you say, they're using their Cosworth power to pass. They have 60 seconds of usage during the motor race, and again we're down to 725 base horsepower on the engine for the race conditions, and an extra 75 horsepower, about 300 RPM, about 75 horsepower, as I say, when they press that push to pass button on the steering wheel of this car. But look at the lead that Bourdais has opened up in just 4 corners.
That's exactly why I was saying Paul, it was a godsend that Paul was able to get that jump. That's really what he needed. Obviously it was deemed as a jump start, was not able to keep that position, and now Sebastian is going to do what he has to do way down the laps early in the race and build that gap. Already look at the gap that he's built. Just a phenomenal pace he's running on just the first
fully green lap that we've had so far of this race. So Paul Tracy running second, Cristiano D'Amata, big benefactor now, running up in third, and Andrew Ranger in the MyJack racing car up to fourth place now. The young Canadian has been so consistent all year and on track for another great run if he can just hold on to where he is. Dan Clark in the CT HVM car, the highest running rookie right now, in 5th position. Oh, and we got a missing front wing here from, is that Tagliani? Yes, it is. Alex Tagliani missing his front wing.
And now the full course caution is out. Nelson Philippe had got himself up into second place, so Nelson and yet Paul Tracy is falling down our charts here, so I don't know what's happened. Something clearly has gone amiss out on the racetrack. We're showing that Sebastian Bourdais comes to with 52. Here we are. Here's PT. There it is. In turn 6, leaves his braking too late. Does a spin turn, doesn't hit anything. But now what's going to happen is he tries to rejoin. Oh,
come on.
That is crazy. I mean, that
was absolutely ludicrous. You know what? Absolutely no sympathy for Paul. My heart goes out to Alex. That was absolutely ridiculous. When a driver goes off into the runoff, the first thing he does is stop, regroup, and look for oncoming traffic. There's no blind hill. There's no blind corner. That is a clear view from where Paul was. The C cars are coming. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, he will. Tony Cotman will take action here against Paul Tracy. That I can assure you.
He's out of the race. I mean, they can't ruin his race. He's already done it, and he's already ruined Alex's as well. That was absolutely appalling.
And there is Alex Tagliani. You can see how mad he is. He
mindless driving.
Didn't even look back. Paul Tracy. He's coming out of the escape road there. He's looking straight back down the track at the cars coming towards him, and he just drove directly into Alex's path. That's just quite incredible.
I have a feeling Alex is about to walk directly into Paul Tracy's path, and that was I still can't even believe what we just saw.
He's going the opposite direction.
Ridiculous.
There's PT there, getting a pat on the back. I don't think of encouragement there from the ChampCar safety team, and there is PT, and I think PT. Here we go.
What the fuck, brother? What the fuck? What the fuck, brother? You fucking destroy my car. I have no cars. I have no fucking cars left. I have no cars left.
And I can understand Tag's frustration. You know, this Walker Racing Team Australia, they've had so many disasters with their cars over the last.
Tag's not doing himself any favors there at all.
John Beekers.
Yes, they put on the black sidewalk tires. A very quick stop. And this is a case where his car is so fast he gets safety on Cristiano D'Amata. There goes a CTE car. Lots of people taking advantage. You couldn't make it to the end if you save some fuel and you have a car as fast as Sebastian Bourdais.
That was Rob Edwards there, who was on the right with the white shirt, the team manager for Team Australia, trying to pacify Alex a little bit and just say, look.
Just that last little bit that we saw, what was the most appalling thing is I just heard the whole crowd cheering. That's just wrong. I mean, Alex obviously has full right to be upset and angry, but I'm sorry, he did not handle that the way he should have.
So there is the damage to the front of the chassis. You can see it's damaged the tub on that car. So yeah, it's absolutely destroyed the tub on that car. They only have one serviceable car right now, that team, and that is just disgraceful and despicable. And okay, let's move on. So we've reset the field now with those pit stops taking place, and we're going to have about 13 laps to go probably when we go back to green. Sebastian Bourdais clearly out in front now. Cristiano D'Amata in second place. Justin Wilson to Rousport 2-3. Nelson Philippe in fourth. Mario Dominguez, a brilliant run for Dale Coyne Racing to be in fifth place, just keeping his nose clean in the Sonny's barbecue car, and that would certainly be a great result. This team, they go into each weekend hoping to qualify among the top 10 and then make up some places and finish in the top 5, and they've been close to doing so a bunch of times this season, and everything right now, it seems, is working into the hands of Mario Dominguez. He's not put a foot wrong, done a nice job. We are back racing again, and Sebastian Bourdais, again, a very good jump off turn 7, gets to jump on Cristiano D'Amata, but Justin Wilson looks like he had a good run on his teammate going down towards turn 1. However, not close enough to make a pass. It's single file down into the hairpin. The first 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars going through there, and there is the Rocket Sports car there of Nicky Pastorelli running in 10th place. He's doing a good job this weekend after a nightmare weekend in Edmonton 1 week ago. 4 crashes in 1 weekend. That was not what that team needed. But he's doing a good job now, and just keeping his nose clean and picking up more experience and running inside the top 10. We're down to the closing stages, just 1.5 miles to go, less than that for our race leader, Sebastian Bourdais. Here he is into the hairpin one last time. He's led this afternoon 68 laps of this 97-lap motor race. He's been absolutely perfect, as we've seen so often in his career, and now just 3 corners to go for Sebastian.
Another one on the cards. I know he's been anxious to get another one. He obviously had that string at the beginning of the season to win the first 4, but hasn't been back to the top set in the last 4 races. So Sebastian very looking forward to getting back onto the top step. He knows where he feels it's where he belongs, and he certainly proved it and earned it today.
Yeah, and he's been perfect here in San Jose. 2 poles and now 2 wins for Sebastian Bourdais in the 2 visits to the capital of the Silicon Valley here in Northern California. He's accepting their plaudits of the Newman Haas Racing team for the 21st time in his amazing ChampCar career. There is the checkered flags for Nelson Philippe. So it's D'Amato in second, Wilson third. As Carl Russo said, no team orders there. So the Brazilian stays ahead of the Englishman. Nelson Philippe comes home fourth. A very well-deserved fifth for the smallest team in the paddock, Mario Dominguez and Dale Coyne Racing. And there are the guys. And Sebastian Bourdais, he's going to slow down here and let the other cars go past. There's been a huge crowd on hand here, and there's not very many places though you can really give the traditional celebratory donuts, is there?
Concentrate on your mark. Go. Green.
Bridgestone presents the ChampCar World Series powered by Ford. The sights, the sounds, the exhilaration, and yes, the pressure of a 185-mile-an-hour festival of speed. 2 weeks ago, a huge crowd enjoyed perfect weather conditions and a vastly improved street circuit in San Jose, California. The city was rewarded with a thoroughly entertaining race, which saw points leader Sebastian Bourdais claim his 5th win of the season. It also included a brief bout of boxing. What caused all of that? It began innocently enough when Tracy sailed into the runoff area in turn 6. He then spun around and unbelievably charged back onto the course directly into the path of Alex Tagliani. Both drivers were out of the race, but Tagliani was looking for an explanation. Tracy knew he'd been in the wrong and wanted nothing more than to be left alone. But when Tagliani returned to make his point yet again, it was too much. The fireworks erupted. Clearly, the combination of the frustrations of a troubled campaign and a race that ended prematurely had pushed both men beyond their personal limits of tolerance. Today, those 2 men and the remainder of the ChampCar World Series contenders return to action in the Mile High City as Bridgestone Tires presents the ChampCar World Series powered by Ford and the Grand Prix of Denver. Jeremy Shaw here in Denver, Colorado, joined once again by James Hinchcliffe, the Atlantic Series driver. And James, a very dramatic event a couple of weeks ago.
It was one of those racing incidents that really should not have occurred, and then the off track, of course, led to some penalties for the 2 drivers. I don't think any of them undressed, and we'll take a look now at what they got served from Tony Cotman.
Yeah, the race director was very busy after that event, and he has docked Paul Tracy 7 championship points. Also, he is on probation now for 3 races, and both he and Alex Tagliani were fined undisclosed amounts. The reason for that is they don't want the drivers comparing notes and figuring out what's the worst thing to do, I think. But certainly, I think the right penalties were meted out in that situation. But it's a pretty demanding racetrack here. You can see from the start-finish line on the second longest straightaway here, leads into turn 1, which is always a tricky place for overtaking, but certainly a good overtaking opportunity. Then tight and twisty and very slippery. The long back straightaway down leading towards turn 9 is by far and away the best overtaking opportunity on this racetrack. Let's have a look at Paul Tracy to take us around the lap here in Denver. James Hinchcliffe.
So we're on board with Paul Tracy heading down to the first corner up to 150 miles an hour. Big bump under braking. Corner 1, 2, we're kind of connected here. It's a long right-hander. Slippery concrete patch in the middle. Get back onto power. Then it's a very, again, slick corner 3. Back on the power heading down to corner 4. It's downhill braking. Very bumpy. and big crown. The road falls away really bad on the exit here. It's important to get the power down. Really easy to get the car sideways on here. As well with the power loss, or sorry, the downforce loss, you also have a power loss in this air. So into turn 5, the road falls away at the exit. Into the slowest corner on the track as Paul's all over the rev limiter, turn 6, which sets you up for the most important corner, turn 7, and a big oversteer from Paul's not going to help him. Short shifting up to keep the car flat through corner 8, onto the back straight now, ripping up through the gears, all 750 horsepower, hard at work as he's heading down now into corner 9, the final corner on the track. Best place for passing. It's the mile-wide corner here in the Mile High City. Turn 9, hard on the anchors, get it down to the apex, back on the power, up through the gears. Now, interesting thing about Paul Tracy is he's been experimenting with left foot braking with that test that they were doing in Road America. The 16-year veteran of right foot braking has tried left foot braking here this weekend and doing it very well.
He did, and I was speaking to his race engineer Eric Zito, and he's very impressed with how quickly Paul has taken to it. Let's take a look at the starting lineup this afternoon. Sebastian Bourdais, the 6th pole of the season, the 99th pole for Newman Haas Racing. Paul Tracy will start on the outside of row 2 alongside Justin Wilson, holding the hometown colours for Team Rousport.
2 French Canadians line up on the 3rd row alongside each other with Tag on the inside and Andrew Ranger, who's got his 4th top 10 qualifying in a row for MyJack. The 4th row, Bruno Junqueira, a 2-time winner here, and Oriol Servia for PKV Racing.
Row 5 of the grid, Mario Dominguez, he's been in the top 10 all weekend for Dale Coyne Racing. Nelson Philippe alongside on the 5th row. Will Power starts back on row 6 alongside Charles Waltzman. Very quick on Friday, struggled a bit in final qualifying.
CTE driver Dan Clark, who was robbed of a good finish 2 weeks ago in San Jose on the inside of the 7th row alongside fellow rookie Jan Halen in the Dale Coyne Racing entry. Katherine Legge with a disappointing qualifying where she is near the back of the grid, and Nikki Pastorelli rounding out the field on the outside of the 8th row.
Just about perfect conditions here in Denver. Good crowd on hand. There is the green flag, and again a good jump by the pole sitter Sebastian Bourdais. Not allowed to use the Cosworth power to pass before the first corner. There's Tagliani looking for the inside, and he tips Paul Tracy. Would you believe it?
Figures those two would come together again. Paul's backwards. He seems to have stalled the motor. The visor up. You see him put his visor up. That is the signal to the safety team. That car is dead. If they cannot get him going, this probably will go to a full course caution. Sebastian gets to a clean lead. AJ second, Justin third, and that brings Bruno, I think. Is it Bruno or Oriol who's gone up to fourth now?
Who would have believed it? Last year, it was Tagliani who was the innocent victim in turn 1. He was nailed actually 1 year ago by Cristiano Lamada. This time around, though, it's Tagliani who punts off Paul Tracy, and he was ready payback from 2 weeks ago. No, I really don't doubt it. These two, they're pretty good buddies. Well, they're not close buddies, I wouldn't say, but there's no doubt there was no malice intended there. But Tagliani got a little bit too deep, turns around Paul Tracy, and there goes PT, and I think he's able to get that car going again. Tagliani, meanwhile, we gather is in the pit lane, so maybe it was some damage to Tagliani's car, or he's already out of the car. That's Rob Edwards there with his back to us in the white shirt, and comparing notes with his race engineers as well. So Tagliani, clearly his day has done. What a disaster for Alex Tagliani. He had a very difficult season. Here's again another replay. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen, Sebastian Bourdais makes it through cleanly. There's Tagliani sticking his nose down the inside, and as Paul Tracy tries to tuck in behind Justin Wilson, there's contact. There is our race leader, Sebastian Bourdais. He's led all 16 laps. He scored his 6th Bridgestone Pole Award of the season, and the 24th of his career. Amazing statistics, 24 poles in just 55 starts, I think it is. An amazing tally there by Sebastian Bourdais, and leading now pretty comfortably in the early stages. The last few laps he's pulled out quite substantially over AJ Allmendinger. The gap was only about a couple of seconds, but the last 2 laps or so he's pulled out over a second a lap over AJ Allmendinger. Last lap around Sebastian's lap was a 1 minute 3.0. You can see he's on the black sidewall tyres. AJ Allmendinger on the red sidewall tyres. His last lap a 1 minute 4.7. So he lost 1.7 seconds last time around with AJ. Justin Wilson there, tucking at the heels there of AJ Allmendinger. That car sliding around as he gets back on the power here when we go back to green. Again, the slightly harder tyres there that is being used by these 2nd and 3rd place cars.
That's the one thing that Sebastian has to his benefit right now is the red sidewall tyres will definitely come in a little bit quicker with the softer compound. So AJ still struggling with a loose car. You can really see it, but Paul is all over the back of Justin Wilson right now.
And I wonder whether we get onto the back straighter here, whether Paul might be tempted to use that Cosworth power to pass one more time. He's shown us having only 6 seconds left, but as I said, a little while ago. When you get on that boost button, you can maintain it all the way down. No, he doesn't. His hand doesn't seem to be moving onto it, does it? So no, he's going up through the gears and apparently not using. AJ Allmendinger, however, is using the button in an attempt to pull away a little bit from Justin Wilson. He does that. He maintains his second place going down into turn 9.
Yeah, you saw the back end of Paul's car step out a lot and hit a lot of wheel spin as he was coming onto the back straight there, so he did not get the run that he needed. Smart move to not touch the power to pass there, so he's just going to have to be calm, collected, regroup, and then try and line Justin up one more time. And it looks like turn 9 is going to be the place he'll make it happen.
Is he going to make it stick at the last minute? He has used up the final element of his 60 seconds worth there, and he finally got it. What a great move by Paul Tracy. I didn't think he was really close enough in the braking area, but he made it stick.
Brilliantly done. I mean, he's, like you say, he's used all his push to pass. He got the issue with corner radius being so fast, it's hard to follow another car with the aero loss. The fact that the air is less dense here makes that effect even more apparent in the car, and then on top of that, it happens to be the bumpiest corner on the track, so it's very, very tough to follow cars through there, but Paul did just enough, waited to the last minute, hit that power to pass, dove out, and got the pass done beautifully and cleanly, and we'll see now if he pulls away from Justin and catches up with AJ and Sebastian. AJ's on the power to pass, he saw the mistake, and he's pulling out. And textbook, well done. Can Sebastian get back down? No, he cannot. Very well done from AJ. He saw the mistake from Sebastian, got on that power to pass when he needed to. Very textbook move. Brilliant stuff.
Great stuff indeed. Look at that. AJ now wants to pull out a gap because he knows that it's not going to take long for PT to make the pass as well.
You are cleared for takeoff, 10-4.
You are cleared for takeoff. I think that was Eric Zito, was it, the race engineer on the radio there to Paul Tracy. Cleared for takeoff.
Careful, Eric. Don't give him any ideas. Let's think back to Cleveland now, shall we? Replay of the pass on AJ, staying to the last minute on the power to pass, pulls out on the brakes very late, and just rolls the speed in beautifully. Sebastian had no chance there with the no blocking rules in ChampCar. That was AJ's corner, and he sure took it. Now, obviously, Tracy's next in line to try and attack Sebastian. The problem, Tracy is out of power to pass, where Sebastian still has 42 seconds left, so even if Tracy does get a good run, Sebastian can use the power to pass in a defensive manner rather than an offensive manner, so Paul's going to have to work extra hard to get by Sebastian. Yeah, and here's Paul. He's going to have a really good run maybe on heading into one. Let's see if Sebastian gets on his car with power to pass. He does not. Paul looks out. Oh, not quite deep enough to do it. And he goes wide. Justin Wilson looking on the inside. He's getting along, and he got past. A mistake by Paul Tracy while trying to get by Sebastian Bourdais has cost him third position. Justin Wilson squeezing by there. Brilliant stuff from JW.
AJ, he's marching away at the front of the field here, second a lap pretty much over Bourdais. The gap from first to second now 7 seconds, and we're hearing that Sebastian Bourdais will not make a pit stop until lap 63. So he's still got another 9 laps to hang on here in the face of intense pressure from Wilson, who is using the power to pass going down the main straightaway here.
He's on it, and Sebastian has not yet hit his in defense. He's got the run, and there we go, down the inside on the brakes as hard as he can. Textbook move, really well done. Good stuff from Justin Wilson to now move up from 4th to 2nd in just 3 laps. Great job for the Roosport guys.
And up there is Paul Tracy though, and Bourdais just continues to struggle, and it's now Paul Tracy, a clean pass. Bourdais all the way down to 4th place.
Not good for Sebastian at all, and I'm not sure how close now Bruno Junqueira is to this fight. He is right in it. There you go. He's now right on the tail of his teammate, and he too has power to pass in store to use.
And there goes Bruno down to the inside. Again, another clean move. Nothing that Sebastian Bourdais could do.
While you were talking, saying that Bourdais was in trouble, that was the same consensus that they came to here on pit road. In fact, they made a quick call to bring him onto pit road, and just as you said, it's the red sidewall bridge zones that just don't seem to have the longevity. And hands in the air, you could just see the frustration. Sebastian Bourdais knowing.
Dan Clark has just made the pass on Justin Wilson. We didn't quite catch that, but as you can see, Justin there on those red sidewall cars, the tires really sliding around.
My heart absolutely bleeds for this man right now as Will Power's closing in, and he will no doubt, with 5 laps to go, get Justin Wilson as well, relegating Justin back to the 7th position. There's nothing more unpleasant than driving a race car that is that ill-handling. And you know what? Credit to him for keeping it off the walls, because at a place like Denver, no room for error.
1:05.1 last time around, so he's losing sort of 3.5 seconds to the race leader. He is really struggling, and that is Will Power. It's just a matter of time before Will makes that pass. Will therefore looking to move up into 6th place and perhaps try and track down Dan Clark before the end of the race. Will Power's best results in the ChampCar World Series is a 6th place finish, which he's managed on a couple of occasions now, both in Edmonton and San Jose. So the last 2 races have been his career best 6th
Spoke
place.
to John Tzanikis, of course, on the radio, to Bruno Junqueira. The question was, of course, do you let the championship point leader come through? He says, no, at the moment. Carl Haas told me we can race him. Wonder what'll happen with 5 to go.
Sebastian Bourdais looks on the inside of corner 2.
Wow.
There might have even been contact there. Those guys got very close.
Wow, that was very close indeed between the 2 Newman Haas racing cars. And you might remember a couple of years ago, these 2 were on the front row here at the start of the race. They collided in the first turn, and Sebastian spun.
He spun and then went to last and went on to win the race. We must not forget, and Paul Tracy has done something very similar here today. Hit in the first corner, spun, fell to last place, but is currently in 2nd.
Yeah, look at this. The battle now is beginning to build up here between Sebastian Bourdais and Paul Tracy. There goes Paul in the blue car, in the blue corner. And here again, a look at the pass here. Coming down into turn 1. Bruno Junqueira there holds his racing line down to the inside at the very last. Well, no, actually, he doesn't go down. Maybe Bruno just slips a little wide in the middle of it. He let him go, didn't he? Did he?
No, they're racing, and Sebastian taking all the curb. You know, when Bruno tried to hold him off there, he just got a little bit wide, and Sebastian was able to just sneak through. So
that was kind of weird, because Bruno didn't seem to run awfully wide at that corner,
he didn't go all that wide, but just wide enough for Sebastian to throw it in. So I mean, I would just say if he was going to let him by, that's not the part of the track where he would do it.
No.
Far too risky. But more importantly, looking back from the number 3 car of Paul Tracy, the Forsyth Racing entry, and looming in the distance, you can see Sebastian Bourdais, the McDonald's Newman Haas car, closing in on him with only 2 laps to go. Paul, of course, having no Cosworth power to pass left. Sebastian with only 4 seconds left. So this is going to be very,
he's got
very
one opportunity to use that Cosworth power to pass, does Sebastian Bourdais. We're coming now through turn 8 onto the fastest part of the course, and here we go. Is this the opportunity for Sebastian Bourdais? We've got the white flag is out. We've got 1 more lap to go for our race leader, and therefore for these 2 that are just coming around the final corner, around turn 9. So just 1 more lap for Sebastian Bourdais to try and get past Paul Tracy. You've got to say that's a pretty tall order.
Well, he did not use his Cosworth power to pass the 1 push he has left on that last run, so Sebastian's going to have to drive it very smart, set Paul up, and Paul's running out of fuel. There must be a fuel issue with that car, because he slowed up viciously coming out of that corner. He was on line, his car did not step out, so maybe the fuel pickup problem on the last lap is starting to show through, but Paul is pushing. He's doing what he can. You can hear on the radio saying, set him up on the main straight, set him up for the straight. Oh, Paul, hold on.
We've heard Paul's crew on the radio saying it's all or nothing. We're going to go for this 2nd place. Fuel pickup problem or not. It's these couple of corners here, they're going to be crucial. Is that car going to pick up? We're watching out for the race winner here. There comes AJ Allmendinger to win the race. Justin Wilson goes 1 lap down, and then we're going to look back at this battle for 2nd place. A great run, and here it is. Sebastian's got round, he's going to straight.
Oh no! Contact, that was not going to end well. Paul's going to try and get that car around and finish with whatever he has left of his car. That's going to let Bruno go through. Both of those cars seem to be dead on the track. You can hear a car on the rev limiter. I'm not sure which one it is. That means they have no drive left. There's something wrong. Oh, maybe that's AJ doing donuts, actually. And the last corner of the race, both of these guys out. That is absolutely crushing.
Is that going to put Speedy Dan into 3rd place, I think?
It does, in fact.
Bruno Junqueira is finished in 2nd place, so a great run for him. And there's Sebastian out of the car. Well, this is going to be interesting. He's going to have words with PT. Look, he's running over there to Paul Tracy. They're both out of their cars. And what are you playing at, he says.
Okay, let's see if it's take 2. Paul, are you going to fight this?
Listen to the crowd.
Look at Paul Tracy saying, come on, you want to look. Paul's going to take his helmet off because careful, Paul, you're on probation, mate. Don't do anything else. You know, it's bad enough, but this has absolutely massive implications in the championship because, of course, A.J. Allmendinger winning the race and Sebastian Bourdais getting no points.
Well, he'll get quite a few points because he will still finish. He will be classified in 7th place. Justin Wilson, he was a lap down. Well, Sebastian's already completed that same lap. So Sebastian will be credited with 7th place. Tracy will be credited with 6th. And listen to the crowd. That's amazing. And you've got to feel for Sebastian Bourdais because there's no doubt in my mind at all. He'd made a clean pass. We didn't see it, but there he is. He's well ahead going into the final corner. Paul Tracy lunges down to the inside line, locks it up, slides directly into the path of Sebastian Bourdais. Clearly not Bourdais' fault at all, and Bourdais has every right to be incensed by the actions there of Paul Tracy. Here now are the unofficial standings as we leave here. Sebastian Bourdais with 275 points. A.J. Allmendinger came into this race with a 45-point deficit. He's closed up 13 markers unofficially going into, as we go to the next race in Montreal in a couple of weeks' time. Justin Wilson still not out of it by any means there. And Mario Dominguez, Nelson Philippe and Paul Tracy tied right now for 4th place, but I fancy there may well be some more deductions to Paul Tracy's tally as a result of that last lap incident. But again, Mario Dominguez and Nelson Philippe, Nelson, boy, he's certainly the revelation of the year. He was last year's Bosch Most Improved Driver as judged by his peers, his fellow drivers, and this weekend this year he's doing a fabulous job. Comes away with another top 5 finish here this weekend. Hello and welcome to a beautiful day here at Road America. I'm Jeremy Shaw, joined once again by Atlantic driver James Hinchcliffe. This afternoon it will be Dan Clark, the 22-year-old Englishman who won his first ever Bridgestone Pole Award on Friday in very difficult drying conditions. Only 2 drivers went out on slick tyres. Dan Clark was best of all of them. Sebastian Bourdais was quickest in the wet yesterday afternoon. On row 2, Charles Schwartzman, he was the other guy out on slick tyres on Friday. A career best effort for him and a season best starting for position for Tagliani.
Inside of row 3, A.J. Allmendinger, who was tied for 2nd with his ex-teammate and fellow 3rd row starter Justin Wilson, who was starting 6th on the grid for Rue Sport. Will Power on the inside of row 4 is on a streak of 4 top 6 finishes in a row, and Katherine Legge running very well, matching her best qualifying ever.
Andrew Ranger, his 6th consecutive top 10 qualifying effort. Bruno Junqueira, twice a winner here in the past at Road America, loves this place. Paul Tracy, he will start way back on row 6 of the grid alongside the rookie Jan Halen for Dale Coyne Racing. Road America, it's one of the classic venues, certainly in North America, if not the world. It's 4 miles around here, three different places on this racetrack, down towards turn 1, downhill towards turn 5, and on the back straightaway with the infamous kink leading towards turn 12 at Canada Corner. 3 different occasions the cars will reach over 190 miles an hour, linked by some very tight corners. And Justin Wilson will take us for a lap around. James, let's ride on board with Justin Wilson.
Yeah, we're going to get on board here with the number 9 CDW Rue Sport car heading down the front straight here at Elkhart Lake. Very long straights here. This is such a unique racetrack as we head down to the first corner. Very quick corner still here in turn 1, about 4th gear for these Champ cars. They should grab another gear heading down the hill into corner 3 now. So important to get a good run off of these corners because these straightaways are just so long that the speed and the time carries all the way down. They'll get all the way up into 7th gear down this straightaway. Drafting is going to be a huge thing here. You want to run downforce to be quick through the corners, but not too much because it really sacrifices the straight line speed here. And as you can see, there's lots of that. So hard on the brakes, down to 2nd gear for the tight turn 5. Slowest corner on the racetrack. Then up a hill. It doesn't look very steep from the onboard, but it is very steep through turn 6. There's some new asphalt there. You can see Justin getting a little bit loose on entry, a little bit slicker through the flat out kink here in turn 7. A little bit of a lift from Justin, heading another downhill braking zone into turn 8. This corner is so important to get a good run off of because as we head into the infamous carousel here at Road America, this speed out of turn 8 carries all the way through turn 9. You've got to be so gentle on the throttle, so patient, but be committed on the exit because then they go up through the gears all the way up to 7 through the kink. Absolutely horrifying in this corner is in the wet. Walls on either side as it snakes through the forest here. The Cosworth XFE motor doing its absolute hardest job all year. Hard on the brakes into Canada Corner from 190 miles an hour. Then back on the power. Heading up now to corner 13 under the bridge. Quick little left-hander. And we're coming around as Justin sets up for the last corner on the track, turn 14. use a little bit of curb, all the road on the exit, hard on the power for another long pull up the straightaway, up the hill, and that is a race, or sorry, that is a lap at the famous track here in Elkhart Lake.
Lining up for the start here at Road America, round 12 of the ChampCar World Series, and it's Dan Clark who leads the field up towards the starting gantry. He gets a great jump, and there is the green flag from J.D. Wilbur, and it's Charles Walton challenging on the inside of Sebastian Bourdais going down towards turn 1. What a great moment for Dan Clark and for Charles Walton, gets a jump on Bourdais. Super job by both of those two. And there is Bruno Junqueira on the outside line, and here's Justin Wilson diving down to the inside. Whoa, there's a melee, big melee on the outside. Yeah, Bruno Junqueira was in there.
It looks like that might be Paul Tracy. I can't tell. It looks like it might be a blue car parked alongside here.
Possibly Andrew Ranger.
This is maybe Serbia. Is this the red car here?
No,
yet?
it's Bruno
Junqueira. Absolutely horrible.
We saw him going around the outside at the first corner. This is for sure going to bring out the full course caution. Yes, it does.
Jan Halen, I think, is also involved in that.
What a shame. Yeah, here's a blue and white card. Here's the Belgian driver, Jan Halen. There is around the outside going Bruno Junqueira, and looks like some contact there between himself and I believe that would be Will Power, dicing for around about 6th, 7th, 8th or 9th places, and then a huge melee behind. We can see Power's car spearing off to the left. I don't think he hit anything. I think he just got embedded in the gravel.
And here we come now as Dan gets on it up the hill. The green flag should be set to come out. Everybody seems to be in line. Everybody's on the push to pass. You see all the lights flashing. We are looking at 6 of the top 8 cars on push to pass, and the green flag is going. We see Alex Tagliani coming close. Charles Wolfsman pops out. Alex Tagliani pops out of Sebastian. 4 cars going in 2 by 2 in the first corner.
A tactical error from Dan Clark. He was one of the only guys that did not use the Cosworth power to pass, at least until too late. He used it about as it went past start finish. Charles Wolfsman's got the lead and the advantage and the lead into turn 1 and through turn 3. They're onto the back straightaway, and Sebastian Bourdais also is knocking on the heels here of Dan Clark. A great battle for 2nd and 3rd. Here now is there on the back straightaway. There is Bourdais taking the lead from Charles Walton.
Textbook move there. Sebastian did get on his Cosworth power to pass, of which he only has 35 seconds of the allotted 75 that they're given for this race. They give him an extra 15 seconds this race because of the length of the track, and Sebastian has already used up a good portion of that. So as we take a replay now, heading under the Sargento Bridge, down into corner 5, hard on the brakes there. Absolute textbook move. He was completely passed before Charles. Charles really couldn't do anything there.
If you look very, very carefully from that shot as the cars went away, you could see that Bourdais, the red light on the back of the car, the rain light was a steady, a quick flash on that rain light at the back. That indicates he is using the Cosworth power to pass. And look at him now, he's pulling away. The Newman House cars clearly have a big advantage this weekend. They've been lightning quick, and it looks to me like that car's running probably less wing than anybody else as well, maybe. Here is Dan Clark, and Jan Beek is in the pit lane waiting for the first scheduled stop for the CTE racing team.
And I think the most important thing is that Dan Clark has showed that he has been speedy, not only just by tire choice in qualifying. That's Kelly Lowen. His race engineer talks him into the pit box. He has the alternate brakes. Oh, it's not coming up. That was slow coming up on the air jack. Talk him through the entire stage. When you hear during a pit stop you have the 2nd fastest race lap, that's coaching, keeping the guy confident, and that's what we heard from Kelly Lowen. Now, next time around, we're going to see Sebastian here. The leader's going to pit.
Here is Sebastian Bourdais, and again, Jan Beekis is in the Newman House Racing pit. The race leader, it makes his first stop of the afternoon.
Now, of course, Kenny Seawick calls him into his box. We heard Dan Clark say they had the 2nd fastest lap. The fastest lap, of course, is Sebastian Bourdais. Half a turn of front wing. While he's finishing, let's get to Cameron Seal.
All right, Jan, they were having problems with AJ's car pushing. They were going to adjust the front wing, but they decided now to just go to the black tires and see if that solves the problem.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God! Massive accident! Oh my God! That is the motor. A tub landed upside down.
That is the kink.
I don't know who that is.
Both course yellow.
We don't know who that is right now, but that is the fastest part of the track. Down at the exit of the kink there, turn 11. That is a very, very scary place indeed. And that is, of course, going to bring out a full course caution. And we've all got our fingers crossed here. That is a very, very scary place to go off the road. AJ Allmendinger still leads.
Katherine, you got a copy?
Katherine, have you got a copy? So it is Katherine Legge who has had that crash down there at turn 11, and there's obviously clearly some concern from the crew and everybody. Look at the debris that's been strewn across the racetrack. That is absolutely flat out in this car. She's been she made her last pit stop on lap 43, so a couple of laps ago, and it takes certainly a couple of laps to get full temperature into these tyres, get the tyres up to the optimum working temperatures, and that is a very, very scary incident. She was running inside the top 10, was Katherine, well inside the top 10, and dicing with some cars there. We don't know what happened, but we will keep our eyes on that one. In the meantime, we are under caution with just 5 laps to go now, and AJ Allmendinger still leads the motor race. Bruno Junqueira in second place, Sebastian Bourdais third, Justin Wilson fourth, and Oriol Servia in fifth place. And Dan Clark now will move up to sixth. I believe that Clark and Legge were dicing for that sixth place. Tagliani seventh, then Zwartzman, Jan Helen, and Andrew Ranger in 10th place.
Get some replays here of Catherine's incident. This is the kink. Now she's back. She's already around, and she hits the wall with phenomenal force. The car flies up in the air, catches the fence a bit. The motor breaks off as she comes back down, and the tub continues to go. As the gearbox and the rear tires up in the air there, as the tub barrel rolls down the outside of the track there. Incredibly scary shunt there. We're all fingers crossed, praying now for Catherine's safety. Hopefully she's all right. The safety team got there within seconds of the accident to try and tend to Katherine.
Now here's again another look from a different angle. This is looking into the kink. You see that new section of racetrack there to the left for the motorcycles there.
This should give us a better indication of what.
See what happened. There's a little flash of something there. That's Catherine's car, the second car in the picture, going into the kink. It
that's not the rear wing end plate. Oh my goodness. If that's a rear wing end plate or something along the lines, you can see it.
To the right side of the picture. We don't have
near the wall there. It's a white line, and so as she turns in, she will have very little rear downforce. And
you can see the car stepping out already. The back end is coming around, James.
She's already a passenger at this point, and that'll be fifth, maybe already sixth gear by that point in ChampCar, well over 150, 60 miles an hour.
And down to Jon Beek.
And Derek, of course, Alex Tagliani came onto pit road, so we have a car to look at. And here is this 2-element wing. This is the main element you were speaking about. Here is the element that I assume you're talking about came off. I didn't get to see the replay, but certainly if this element somehow left, you're exactly right. There is essentially no downforce on this once you lose the flap. No way our driver could control it.
So there it is. That was a look on that the rear flap there. Thanks, Jon Beek is down in the pit lane. The cars have been brought to a halt here in Parc Fermé, so no work is allowed to be done on any of these cars, and the drivers stay in their cars waiting to get the word. Here again, you can just see underneath the Suzuki, the S of the bridge, behind the third car in that line. You can see that white thing just flying through the air. That is the top element on the rear wing on Katherine Legge's car, and as she turns into that corner, you know, she's that's going to be absolutely terrifying for Katherine. She doesn't know what's happened to that car. All she knows is, James, as she turns into that corner, she's out of control.
It's the most frightening place for that to happen. And I mean, it would have happened so fast she wouldn't have had much time to react or even know what was happening. So, Katherine Legge, pretty serious accident here at Road America. Red flag of the race.
And the best news is that Katherine Legge has walked out of the medical center under your own power. How are you feeling?
A bit shaken, but I'm okay, as you can see. Oh, sorry. All my bits are intact, so it's good. It goes to show how strong the cars are. It was a big impact, but hopefully everything will be fine for surfers.
I'm sure you've been told now, but at the time, were you aware that the car broke?
No, I don't think you're really aware of what's going on, you know. All of a sudden it just sped up and hit the wall, and then I see ground and there's dirt coming in, and I see the fence, and honestly you're thinking, you know, what's going to happen next. I think I saw bits breaking off and going all around me, and I think that I saw the engine split away because the car caught on fire, and the thing that scared me the most was, oh my god, it's going to catch fire. And then when the engine went away, I'm like, okay, well, that's good. So yeah, it was a bit scary.
And as far as you know, you can recall all the moments of the incident?
I think I had my eyes closed for a lot of it, to be honest.
But you were limping somewhat. I mean, where do you have some injuries?
Oh, I just banged my knee. When you get thrown around in the car upside down, you bang your legs on the bulkhead and on the steering column and stuff. So just a bit of bruising, which won't look too attractive in my dress in the Atlantic's banquet tonight. But
well, it's just such a great experience to see you smiling. I know you want to quickly get out to the pits to say hello to your crew, but
yeah, I don't
thankfully,
think the car, are they?
No, they're not going to.
amazing, James, that she can have such a great sense of humour after going through that traumatic experience.
Absolute class act there. She gets on the golf cart with team owner Kevin Kalkoven. Looks as though that might be a piece of her car, of something that might have been left of the nose cone. Oh my God, split right up the middle there. That is just brutal. But no, she is an absolutely phenomenal spirit. It's cracking jokes, just brilliant stuff.
Back to AJ Allmendinger. What's going through his mind now, James? Oh, we go down to Jon Beekers in the pits with Craig
Hampson. And Craig, we spoke to Sebastian when he was in the car, and I would say he was less than confident. He said that, first of all, he was concerned about the power of an engine.
Yeah, he's kind of saying we're not the fastest car on the straightaway out there. We actually changed the engine this morning because we were pretty slow in warm-up, so we put yesterday's qualifying engine back in, which we thought was a pretty good engine, but he says he just doesn't have the straightaway speed that some of the other cars do. So I think we're just playing defense at this point, but I think Bruno's got a pretty good shot at taking AJ here. Bruno's a heck of a race car driver, and he's got push to pass where AJ doesn't, so I think we might just sit back and watch the show.
Thank you, Craig. Let's get to Cameron.
Well, Sebastian Bourdais' guys saying they're going to watch the show. From your position, I mean, is there anything you can do to defend without the power to pass? Just got to really get a jump.
Well, I think Junkie's wounded a little bit. Our car's been pretty strong as rubber's gotten down, so we'll hope for the best. I think it's pretty wise of Seabass to sit back. But knowing Seabass, I'd be very surprised if he sticks to that plan.
Yeah, so would we. We'll send it back upstairs.
Yes, indeed, and we're going to get ready now. They're just coming down towards Canada Corner. Just a couple of corners to go there before they will take the green flag. And Sebastian Bourdais, I didn't know they changed the engine last night, I must admit, but a routine change certainly. He's. I think it's going to be down to the aerodynamic setups on these cars. He's used to having a huge advantage all weekend, and as we know, a lot of the teams take off downforce for the race. Maybe that team didn't take as much off as some of the other teams.
And that could very much explain the lack of straight line speed. AJ saying, come on boys, let's play, as they come around the last corner, up through the gears, up the hill. AJ, great runs. You can see Bruno Junqueira on the cause of power to pass, the red light flickering. He got a little bit loose. The green flag is waving. Let's see how close he is coming into the first corner. He's using the draft as best he can. He's not quite close enough, I don't think, to get a run into corner one. In the background there we see
Serbia and Wilson. Down to the inside goes Oriol Serbia, makes that pass on Justin Wilson. Super work again. That strategy of taking off that rear wing on that car by Tom Brown and the PKB Racing team. And Oriol Serbia comes alive in the closing stages. Started 13th up to 4th.
AJ Allmendinger again has a great run out of corner 3. Bruno got back on his power to pass a little bit down there. Nowhere near close enough now. He's only got one shot time-wise left, does Bruno, about 9 seconds. That should only give him enough for about one straightaway. But AJ right now, as they come up to the top of the hill under the Toyota Bridge through corner 6, has a relatively comfortable margin. And again, the same distance back to Sebastian. The top 3 all equally spread out right now. No one quite close enough to make a move. So AJ is doing a phenomenal job as the white flag waves. 1 lap to go. He's got a comfortable margin right now.
4 miles to go for AJ Allmendinger. The battle, it appears, is for second place. Bruno Junqueira just holding off that man, the McDonald's car of Sebastian Bourdais. Bourdais has led a goodly portion of the race. He's led 28 of the laps this afternoon. So he's led most laps. That's not really relevant. You only get 1 point for leading a lap. There is Bruno using the cause of power to pass downhill towards turn 5. Is he going to be able to make up enough of the ground to get a run down into turn 5? I don't think so, but he hasn't given up. He's going to look to the inside, but no, he's not close enough. AJ holds him off. He holds that outside line. No blocking, of course, in the ChampCar World Series.
Certainly not, but he did close the gap quite a bit using his last bit of power to pass. Sebastian still has 1 push, so look for him coming out of the carousel to get on that maybe and try and catch up to Bruno. But right now, AJ and Bruno, it's mano a mano right now because neither has power to pass. They're both really close now. As you see AJ's fiancée, Lynn Kushnarenko, right in the forefront there. His parents, of course, watching on. They're coming through the carousel.
For the very last time, the 51st time, this very fast corner, accelerating a short shift in the 4th, going into the corner, up in the 5th, up in the 6th gear, 170 miles an hour through the kick for the fast last time. Bourdais has got a run on Bruno Junqueira. Is he going to have a dive into Canada Corner? We're going to have to see. Here to come down to Canada Corner. The last overtaking opportunity. No, he's not. Bruno Junqueira maintains second place, but AJ Allmendinger just 2 corners to go, James.
Absolutely brilliant. He's under the bridge through 13, now into the final corner 14 for the last time on the power up the hill, and AJ Allmendinger is set to take his 5th win of this season for Forsyth Championship Racing. The young kid from California has got it done. The double checkered flags waving. Phenomenal job by him. Bruno brings it home second. Sebastian not able to improve. As you can see, his father there, absolutely ecstatic. Cheers and praise all around. That was an absolutely phenomenal drive from this kid.
Let's have a look at the unofficial results. Allmendinger, Bruno Junqueira, his best result of the season thus far. So close for Bruno. Sebastian Bourdais has to be content with third. Justin Wilson gets back ahead of Aurel Servia to get fourth place ahead of the Spaniard. Dan Clark, an excellent sixth. Charles Walsman, another excellent result and a career best finish for Charles, and yet another top 10 finish. Look at the championship points there. Sebastian Bourdais not yet clinched, but a huge lead over AJ Allmendinger. But Allmendinger and Wilson still alive going to the final two races of the season.
Paul Tracy right now in fourth position, 154 points back. So he didn't do too well today. I mean, he only managed to
AJ Allmendinger, just moments ago we talked to him, but now the payday. AJ Allmendinger with another win. He's doing the traditional jump into his crew. Again, he has just been unbeatable this year with the Forsyth crew. Comes around to his dad. We mentioned him. AJ, we don't have time to talk to you. We're going off the air. Fantastic. Just a quick comment from you. Just those last few laps. Tell us about it.
That's the best team in the world because I didn't know how we got in the lead. I didn't know how we were leading the race, and I wasn't letting those guys pass me. They're gonna have to crash me and get around me. I'm not letting a French guy clinch on American soil. It ain't gonna happen.
AJ Allmendinger, another victory here.
Cameron Steele, James Hinchcliffe. My name is Jeremy Shaw. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again from Surfers Paradise in the next round of the ChampCar World Series. Bridgestone presents the ChampCar World Series powered by Ford. The sights, the sounds, the exhilaration of a 185-mile-an-hour festival of speed. Welcome to the ChampCar Grand Prix of Australia, round 13 of Bridgestone presents the ChampCar World Series powered by Ford. I'm Jeremy Shaw, joined once again in the booth by ChampCar Atlantic racer and Canada's latest A1 GP star, James Hinchcliffe. There's always a huge crowd on hand, a great atmosphere here in Surfers Paradise, James.
It's one of the drivers and team's favorite events to go to, Jeremy. The fans are phenomenal. Great numbers come out to watch this race. They always put on a great show.
They do, and it's been a lot of things to talk about this weekend. Will Power for Team Australia has done a fantastic job, quickest in both sessions, and he will start from the pole position.
That was awesome, mate. Your first pole here at home. That is awesome. I can't believe it. You know, I'm just so happy for Derek Walker and Craig Gore because of all the effort and money they put into this team, and to repay them with the pole position is just great. Taking on the best in ChampCar, the Tracys, the Bourdais, and you've beaten them at home. How does this vault you to tomorrow's race? Yeah, it's the best possible start we can have for tomorrow. So, you know, we still got tomorrow to come, but we're starting in a good position. The car's really good, so let's just hope we get to the first corner and see what happens. Well done, mate. Congratulations from everyone. Thank you very much.
A stellar job by Will Power and the entire Team Australia organisation. So for the first time in his career, Will Power will start from the pole position here on the track where he was pretty much brought up. He's had a lot of success here in the past, won in 3 different categories. He will start on the pole. Alongside him will be Sebastian Bourdais, looking to clinch that title. On row 2 of the grid, Paul Tracy, he's had his incidents this weekend, and Bruno Junqueira, he's always been quick here in Australia.
On the inside of the third row sits Frenchman Nelson Philippe, and another fantastic qualifying performance for CTHPM. Alongside him, Aurel Servia in the number 6 Gulfstream car. On row 4, we have AJ Allmendinger, the most recent race winner, and Dan Clark, who's sitting second in the rookie points right now.
Back on row 5, Alex Tagliani hasn't been able to match his teammate this weekend. Mario Dominguez, a good job there for the Rocket Sports team, carrying the Pemex colours. Ryan Briscoe makes his ChampCar debut this weekend for the Roo Sport team. Alongside him, Andrew Ranger. Here's a look at this temporary racetrack, almost 3 miles around, and a really fabulous racetrack, and it's a challenge for the drivers. It's going to be, there's all sorts of overtaking opportunities. It's very, very fast, but the cars, they've got to get the cars working over those chicanes.
So here we go, the come around the last corner, try and form up one more time.
And it's a very fast start. I don't know whether they're going to get the green flag this time around. There is the green flag.
Well, that's ChampCar trying to make sure everybody does get through the first corner there. That's not the way any of these drivers wanted to see that start happen, but nice and single file. Everybody will make it through the first corner. That's a bit unfortunate. I really don't like to see that personally. That's just me, but regardless, we are green flag racing. Will Power leads it at his home event. He's got to be pretty excited right now.
Oh, I'll say, and this huge crowd cheering him on as well. They've got a full weekend of racing here at Surfers Paradise, as they always do here. It really is a wonderful racing event, a real celebration of motor racing. And it wasn't a very pretty start, but at least it was clean, and they have made it clean through the first 3-4 corners now, onto the Esplanade for the first time at full power, down here at about literally full power. Will Power leading the way through that very tricky chicane there at turns 5 and 6 through the Bourdais chicane. Wow, and look at that, Paul Tracy made the move on Sebastian Bourdais on the outside line, apparently going in to the Falcon Tires turn. What a remarkable pass that was, James.
We certainly missed something. I would love to try and get a replay, because look at how they seem. Are they pulling away? Does maybe Sebastian have a problem? That was a really bizarre incident there. I mean, normally I don't even know what to say. I mean, until we get more video of what happened there.
He's not coming into the pit lane. It looked like he had quite a bit of understeer coming onto the front straightaway there. There's Nelson Philippe.
Dan Clark is in the wall. As we look at a replay here, just got it all wrong on the entry.
That's those last couple of corners before the final turn. So it's turn 9 and 10 here. Just looked like he carried a little bit too much speed. The track is quite bumpy in that location. Also, there's that move again. The bumping wheels. That was Paul Tracy finding a way past Sebastian. I think Sebastian just figured he got rattled. He didn't want Paul Tracy all over his back end. He was just getting nervous. All he wants to do is clinch the championship. That is his first goal for the weekend. He just said, "Okay, PT, you go."
The pits are open.
Here we go.
It's going to come down to this now. Because they're pitting under safety car, all the cars are coming in at the same time. It is going to come down to the crews getting their cars out first. Sebastian Bourdais is in the pits. Newman Haas crew goes to work.
And I think this is going to consign everybody conceivably to a 3-stop strategy. So we'll have to see. Whoa, look at that. Looked like contact there between Paul Tracy and was that Will Power?
And then something with AJ Allmendinger.
And also Ryan Briscoe as well with Mario Dominguez. So
mayhem. There's a fire. There's a fire in the Forsyth pit. You cannot see it. It burns clear, but they are splashing water. Other teams, Newman Haas there.
We believe that was Paul Tracy's car. A disaster for PT. He looks like he could stop. There's you can see there the methanol fuel. It doesn't have anything like as high a flash point as does petrol, so it doesn't catch fire. But clearly he's pulled away there with the fuel nozzle attached, and methanol is just spewing out there on the pit lane. The bad news is you can't see the fire. The good news is you can extinguish a methanol fire with just water. Here's Paul Tracy's third car back in line.
It's AJ. You can see the flame explode there. It goes orange very briefly, and the hose is still attached to AJ's car as he pulls away. So it's still burning right now. You cannot see it.
That was an absolute disaster for the Forsyth Championship Racing team. Here's another viewpoint. We can see
Paul pulls out here. That's Paul. As he does hit. He does hit Will Power.
Hard.
No! Devastating contact between those two cars. You can see AJ there with the hose still attached. All sorts of mayhem in the first pit stops here in Surfers Paradise.
It was a massively quick stop there by Paul Tracy, but all sorts of incidents again. Here is Sebastian Bourdais leading in the background. Look at this, Paul Tracy veers towards Bourdais, out of control, having already made contact with Will Power. So, and also a slow pit stop also for Bruno Junqueira. Bruno is there is the fuel nozzle still sort of attached to the car number 7 of AJ Allmendinger. So that is an absolute disaster for his championship aspirations.
At this point, it's useless for AJ. His fuel rig is destroyed. I don't believe we're going to see a replay now here. PT coming out. Their contact there definitely damaged to Will's front wing.
Well, I don't know what PT was doing there, because clearly you could quite see from on board with Will Power. Will was where he should have been. He was in the fast lane. There are 3 lanes here coming down the pit lane at Surfers Paradise. There's the pit lane itself, then there's the speed up lane, and then the fast lane, if you call it, on the outside, where of course you are limited to the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit that is a part of this championship. But clearly Paul Tracy there, you are supposed to, when you exit your pit, you're supposed to go first of all to the intermediate lane, and then, if it's clear, to the outside lane. Paul Tracy clearly did not do that. A great restart there by Jan Halen, and he turns a very quick opening lap, pulls away a little bit from Charles Schwartzman, and here we are on board with Will Power, still holding down third place ahead of Sebastian Bourdais. Nelson Philippe now is running in 5th, and Paul Tracy has slipped all the way to 13th. He didn't see what happened to PT.
Well, he did come in for that extra stop at the same time AJ did after the initial stop. So he essentially has one extra pit stop. He had to come in and check the right rear of that car to see if any damage had incurred from the contact with Will Power. But both cars are back on track, seem to be running well as Jan Halen leads the field.
There is car number 11, that is Jan Halen, in to make his first scheduled pit stop of the day. So his moment of glory is over, at least for now.
Charles Woltzman leads the field by a big margin over Will Power. Now Charles coming off both his best qualifying result and his best race finish result in the last round of Road America. The kid's really coming on to form at the end of the season here.
He certainly is, 27 years old, from Lelystad in the Netherlands. And Jan Beekers again is down on the pit lane. We'll try and get to him in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, Charles Watson leads the ChampCar Grand Prix of Australia. But look at Will Power, down to the inside, goes Bourdais!
And there's contact. They said he was going to take some chances. Bourdais off into the runoff. He spins the car around, keeps it running. There was definitely contact with Will Power, though. We'll have to see if his car's got any damage. Look at how this changed the race. Sebastian exits now behind Paul Tracy, who is currently in the 9th position, so he should be in 10th. And there is Will Power out of the... Oh, no, the engine's still running, but it doesn't look like he'll be getting anywhere in a hurry, Jeb.
Oh, what a disaster there, if that is, assuming that is Will Power. It looked like it was a big risk, yeah, Will Power. It looked like Sebastian Bourdais took a big risk. You could see all the cement dry on the off the racing line going into turn 3, down the inside of the corner. You could see all that white brake dust, and as soon as Bourdais got into it, he locked up the brakes and slid straight off in front of... right across the nose of Will Power, and clearly there was a contact between those two, and just one more corner has Will made it before he's pulled off there to the side of the racetrack.
It's devastating. I mean, you see the
Here's another
replay
view.
now.
Here we go, down into turn 3. Look at Sebastian Bourdais, locks up that right front, and clearly some pretty hefty contact there with the left front wheel of Will Power.
He didn't, I mean, Sebastian had his wheel locked up for 200 feet before they even got to the corner. That was, you know, in all honesty, I feel like that was something that Sebastian pulled out to psych him out, and he wasn't actually going for the pass, got into that quick dry and locked the wheel and really had nowhere to go. I mean, if that was a genuine passing attempt, that was pretty sad and a very bad call on Sebastian's part. It's essentially eliminated both these cars now. Local hero Will Power, after running so strong, out of the race at his home event. Devastating for him.
Yeah, after an absolutely brilliant show that Will Power has put on this afternoon.
Now Nelson Philippe making the move on Oriol Servia for the lead of this race. Oh no! Oh, Servia, oh God, Servia locked up his brakes, clipped Nelson Philippe. There's no doubt I don't know, Nelson's carrying on. The front wing doesn't seem to be broken off that car. I find it hard to believe if they both got away with that. Nelson Philippe potentially cut tire, potentially rear suspension damage on that. Oriol Servia now under attack from Alex Tagliani. I can't see any openly apparent wing damage there, and Nelson Philippe seems to be driving away where Oriol seems to be held up a bit.
Now here's Alex Tagliani down to the inside, a clean move into turn 5 there by Alex Tagliani. Super move. Perfect, picture perfect pass by Alex Tagliani. He's obviously been told that Will Power is out of the race, and now Tag, hey, boy, the pressure is on you. And not only is he trying to win the race for Team Australia, but maybe he's driving for his career here. There's Paul Tracy.
So he gets it all sideways. Oh, nice save by Paul Tracy. He's back on the power. They're going to drag into the next corner. Oh, this is good. This is good stuff. An amazing catch by Paul Tracy. Now right back on the gearbox of Oriol Servia. Bruno Junqueira now looming right behind the two of them.
That's the sort of thing you see at the Terre Haute action track. That was what they call in sprint car racing a slide job. You put your car down the inside, you pitch it sideways, and you try to hang on to it. It's relatively easy on the dirt, it's the way to go in the dirt, but on this sort of racetrack, you've got to be kidding me.
Down the inside, oh, they're making a fight of it. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Paul Tracy pulls it off there, this time keeping all wheels pointed in the right direction. That was a gorgeous move, a gorgeous save. That is good racing, Jeremy. And if I'm not mistaken, to get the white flag for Nelson Philippe, Mario Dominguez was on his Cosworth power to pass. He used it on that run, was obviously not close enough to make a move, but he is right on the gearbox now.
Nelson Philippe on the final lap. He can taste it. He is so close. Just a few corners left. Less than 3 miles to go now.
Both of these guys on the red stripe tyres, the softer option of the two Bridgestone Potenza tyres, and they're both absolutely on the limit. A lap ago, Nelson Philippe turned his best lap of the race, a 1:34.261. Mario Dominguez, last time around, 34.367. Oh, look at that, Mario. He tried to get on the power a little bit too soon, coming off turn 4, and that has cost him quite a bit of time. All Nelson Philippe now has to do is keep it cool, keep it calm, keep it collected. You've got about, 5 or 6 more corners, Nelson, and you will come away with a very well-deserved victory. But you don't take anything for granted on this racetrack here at Surfers Paradise. He's got to be inch perfect now in this final less than a mile to go. Mario Dominguez, he's charging as hard as he can, but he made that one mistake.
We know we are very, very used to seeing a Frenchman winning races in ChampCar, but this is not the one. It's usually Sébastien Bourdais. Today, the torch is being carried by Nelson Philippe. He's coming into the last complex. His brother was my teammate in Atlantic this year. I got a lot of time to spend with him and his family. One of the nicest guys you will ever meet, and he has just taken the checkered flag for his first victory in the ChampCar World Series.
The youngest driver ever to win a ChampCar race, Nelson Philippe. There he goes across the line. What a fabulous job he has done. That will clinch also the Nations Cup Championship for France. Nelson Philippe joining there, Sébastien Bourdais, of course. And it's just look at the jubilation in the CTE racing pit. These guys have done a stellar job. We will applaud our champion. This is he's the 5th driver to win a championship for Newman Haas Racing. But however, it is the team's 7th championship. And here is the coveted Vanderbilt Cup. That is a very historic trophy. It's the work there of Tiffany's in New York, and Steve Johnson, the president of the ChampCar World Series, presents it for the 3rd year in a row to 27-year-old Sébastien Bourdais from Le Mans, France. Now lives in the St. Petersburg area in Florida. There is the championship points as we leave, going into the final race of the season in Mexico City in 3 weeks' time. Sébastien Bourdais has clinched the championship, 68 markers over AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah, it's just been absolutely brilliant. From the drop of the green flag, there's been action in the pits, action on the track, contact, passing, great racing, just phenomenal.
My thanks to James Hinchcliffe, also to Lee Diffie and John Beekes and Darrell Beattie in the pits. My name is Jeremy Shaw. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again in Mexico City. So Tracy's miserable season has come to a premature end, and it's all change at Forsyth Championship Racing this weekend, with David Martinez driving the number 3 Telmex Index car and Buddy Rice in the number 7 machine. But a stunning effort by Justin Wilson this on yesterday in the final qualifying session, and that took him to the top of the charts in the second period of qualifying, and earned his 2nd straight pole here in Mexico City, and his 2nd Bridgestone Pole Award of the year. So he will start from the pole position. Alongside him will be Sébastien Bourdais, who was quickest in qualifying on Friday. His Newman Haas teammate Bruno Junqueira has been on the pole here before, and Will Power, the top rookie contender.
Here we go, row 3. We have Ryan Briscoe, 2nd ChampCar start. Dan Clark, who is fighting for a Rookie of the Year.
Let's have a look at the track here in Mexico City, a famed old racetrack. The biggest change here this weekend, instead of going 14, 15, 16 turns through the old baseball stadium, now a very tight chicane leading into the famed Peraltada. They exit at 150 miles an hour, almost 200 on that long front straightaway. Let's take the pole-winning lap on board with Justin Wilson. Adam Carroll talk us around.
There we go, we're down the long straight, 7th gear, top speed, nearly 190 miles an hour. Will be over 200 in the race. This is a big break, down 4 gears to 3rd gear, carry as much speed in as possible. You can see he has a bit of a moment here. This is 3rd gear all the way through. Keep it nice and tight, all about the exit here. Punch the car out onto the back straight. You're up to 170 miles an hour. So back up to 6th gear. Brake as late as possible, down 2 gears and carry as much speed into 4 as possible. Through 4, down 2 more to 5. Quick burst on the power, 2nd gear, 3rd gear. On the brakes again into 6, back down to 2nd. Set the car up now. This is the most important part on the circuit. Into turn 8, your 3rd gear. The speed builds all the way through here. 9, into 10. The car's just getting faster and faster. Keep a balanced throttle. You don't brake all the way through here. Now we're up to 5th gear. There we go, 5th. all the bumps through 12. You can see how bumpy it was through there, flat through 13, up to 6th gear, and now down into one of the most tightest corner in the whole ChampCar series. Stay off the curbs, don't lock the rear end up. All about the exit here. Your 1st gear, here comes the boost, there you go, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, building speed all the way through, 5th gear. And Justin, I think, was one of the only guys to do it flat on his pull lap, and there you have it, a fantastic lap of Justin Wilson.
On the front row, on the inside is Justin Wilson, alongside on the outside of the front row, Sebastian Bourdais. They are the top 2 contenders this afternoon, and we are in for an absolutely fascinating contest. There is a green flag. We are racing here in Mexico City, but already there's been an incident. That's Katherine Legge, I believe, who's caught up in that, just accelerating away from the green flag. What a disaster for Katherine. She qualified back in 13th on the grid, but her car was a lot better than that. We're going to see whether we're going to go full course caution. I think we will, because there's a lot of debris on the front straight, as everybody else, I think, made it through turn 1, which was against the odds. But what a shame for Katherine. She was 4th quickest in the morning practice session for the PKV racing team, so she certainly did a good job, and she was really looking forward to the race as an entire team. Here's again a look at the incident away from the green flag. It looked like somebody there got a slow start away from the grid. Not quite sure who that was, but I think she got together apparently with Mario Dominguez, who was able to continue around, albeit without, I believe, a nose on the front of his car. So Katherine, she's still safe. He's on board with Andrew Ranger. Looked like she got hit from behind by Mario Dominguez, didn't it?
Yeah, there's definitely contact there on the back right-hand side, and that's what put her into the wall.
John Beekers in the PKV pit.
Well, there's a lot of damage certainly for the nose itself, but it looks, Derek, as though it is forward of where it would be replaced. There's a couple of bulkheads that they have on this that would protect the driver's feet. Also checking very carefully, I'm looking over the crew's shoulders, and at the moment, all the attention appears to be paid just to the nose cone itself. And again, it is completely broken off at the front, but forward of where they can replace it. So there is a shot here, and with a long lap, there's a chance they could get that nose cone on and get her back in the back of the order.
We'll have 5 laps completed by the time they come past to take the green flag. And here we are, Justin already gets a pretty good jump off the Peraltada, flat out through there. There is the green flag from J.D. Wilbur, and right tucked in behind is Sebastian Bourdais. And we're going to see whether they're going to be using a Codsworth power to pass on this long front straightaway. Justin Wilson leads the way. There, ducked to the inside is Sebastian Bourdais, onto the brakes all the way down to 3rd gear there. And is he going to run in too deep? No. Or is he? Yes. Perhaps. Great racing there. Nice classic side-by-side racing by the 2 leaders. They both gave each other just enough room, Adam.
Well, they did. Justin has to watch that wrist, and Sebastian has nothing to lose. You know, you could just see that Sebastian got the jump, and it's such a long straight that the slipstream here is really good. So I don't know if he used push to pass or not, but he got a great toe, and he had him up the inside.
Here come the 2 leaders one more time. 22 laps now in the books. Sebastian Bourdais and Justin Wilson now lapping in the 1:30s that time around. Here is Justin. He pulls to the inside on the main straight, down to the inside. A clean pass. Justin Wilson is back in the lead of this race, and I reckon probably about 3 or 4, maybe 3 or 4 laps to go, I would suggest, before round the pits, or maybe not even that.
Yeah, I think they're going to pit pretty soon. The car is working really, really well. The team has it well in the button, and Justin's driving it.
John Beekers on the pit lane for Bruno Junqueira.
Bruno Junqueira's on pit road. He's been complaining of big understeers, so they're going to add some front wing, put on the black sidewall brick zone. That's just under 9 seconds, and we're seeing over our shoulder. They're setting up for Sebastian Bourdais. We saw him just lose the lead. They're going to come and give him a black sidewall set of Bridgestones as well. So things are changing big time here for Newman Haas.
You're going to have to brake early for the box. It's going to be a relatively quick stop.
That's race engineer Todd Malloy, and Cameron Steele is down in the Roosport pit.
On your mark. It's going to be a real quick stop here, Justin.
Well, you can hear him telling Justin Wilson to be careful of the painted surface coming in.
You did the right thing.
You can also hear him saying they did the right thing by coming in for those wet weather tires. Sebastian Bourdais risking it for at least another lap.
And that to me is very, very interesting. Look at it. You go through the top end of the racetrack there. It looks reasonably dry. It's only down through the S's and down through the last corner, so the Peraltada, and now on the front straightaway, it is quite wet. It's actually raining quite hard now, and Sebastian Bourdais is still out there. He's coming through the far end of the racetrack.
I think I'm going to have to pit this time.
There is a...
We are ready to pit now. How much less struggling do you want?
Yeah, Justin called that absolutely perfect, because now he's already out in his wets. He'll be up to speed. He'll be already going quite a bit faster than the guys now. So, you know, Sebastian is already a lap behind onto the wet tires, so he's lost a lot of time.
That's Kenny Seawick there, the radio call between he and Sebastian Bourdais. We're expecting the Newman Haas Racing car, the McDonald's car number 1, onto pit lane this time around for wet weather tyres. But right now, it's Sebastian struggling around on dries, on slicks, and look how wet it is there. He's got to be so careful now not to make a mistake in these last couple of corners.
No wing adjustment.
There's Andrew Ranger, he's on wets, he goes past Sebastian Bourdais. The Newman Haas pit is ready, the wets are out, and here now Sebastian Bourdais will pull off. It's very slippery coming around that Peraltada, even at much reduced speed. It's very easy to make a mistake right there, isn't it?
Well, because you're accelerating all the way through the corner as well, you know, your foot's on and the power, and you're building speed, so you know, you're snatching gears, and it doesn't take much to
Nice and easy, surface is wet, right on the marks. No wing adjustment, right on there. That's it. Easy does it.
You know, it doesn't take much for the rear end to snap.
And they're going to put the wet tires on, as you heard, with no wing adjustments. They had told him earlier that wet tires, wow, he was actually spinning the tires before it dropped off the jacks. They were saying that wet tires, Derek, were 8 seconds a lap. So they were hoping that somehow he could stay quicker than that. And obviously with this kind of rain, he couldn't.
So I think now that just about everybody has made the switch to wet weather tyres, and certainly the front straight here really is quite wet. Through turns 1, 2 and 3 is probably the driest part of the track, but here through the Peraltada there is Bruno Junqueira. He comes around, you can see the spray coming off those tyres. In the wet conditions there, I don't know, probably doing around about 100 miles an hour, but in the dry you're doing 150 coming off the Peraltada.
It's extremely quick, you know, and it's a fast corner in the dry, never mind in the wet, so it's going to be interesting. Hopefully no one makes a mistake and backs it into the wall.
It's incredible to me. I mean, conditions out there now really treacherous. Now there is a little slight mistake there from Justin Wilson, and there is Bourdais ready to pounce when he's coming out of the corner. They're side by side. Look at this.
Yeah, this is
Wilson
close.
on the inside, Bourdais on the outside. Which is the better line? Wow.
Yeah, that was good. I think Bourdais might use some push to pass
Great
here.
job there.
Fantastic racing there. I'm just thrilled they're using this corner again. It's a great layout here. It's always been a wonderful racetrack here. The Brothers Rodriguez racetrack in Mexico City. Sebastian Bourdais is closing, or has closed up, right onto the tail of Justin Wilson. Look at behind him. Andrew Ranger hasn't lost out at all, has he?
No, he's hung in really well, but this is it now. Come on, Justin. He just needs to punch out of here and get a good exit. He did the lap before, and Sebastian's close.
You've got to be so patient, haven't you, with the throttle coming off that corner?
I think Sebastian could have timed this just good here.
Need to use it here. Last lap.
Going on the boost, on the boost.
White flag, there it is. 1 lap to go of the Brothers Rodriguez racetrack in Mexico City. Justin Wilson's got a great run on this straight. I don't think Sebastian Bourdais is close enough, or is he? They're coming down into the braking area now. No blocking allowed, of course. Justin holds the line. He's held that's certainly the best opportunity to pass. Bourdais has now used, wow, look at that. Side by side they are through these turns 2 and 3. Bourdais has used the last of his Coltrane's power to pass. Justin Wilson has 5 seconds left. He's using it now, going down towards turn 4. And it's, whoa, look at this. Bourdais going to look to the inside, is he?
It's also wet offline in some of the corners, so I think that's why Sebastian thought twice about turn 1 as well. But come on, Justin, this is a fantastic drive. Oh, he's going for it, he's going for it. Oh.
Wow, it was a great move, wasn't it, by Bourdais?
Go-kart move.
That was all or nothing, wasn't it, for Sebastian Bourdais?
Yeah, hopefully Justin's wrist is okay after that, but you know, the two guys were giving it all, and you can't take anything away from either of them.
No, you can't. I mean, you're not allowed to block there, so it's up to Bourdais. Do I go for it or do I not? He's got nothing to lose. The championship's already in the bag. Now he's just got to negotiate these S's one more time and not make a mistake, and that's easier said than done. He's already had a spin there earlier on. He's got through turn 13. Now just the final chicane and the Peraltada for Sebastian Bourdais, and what would be an absolutely tremendous victory.
It was indeed.
Oh,
Justin's just missed the chicane, but come on, keep the boost up. That's all right.
Wow.
They'll let him away with that.
That's a champion's drive from Sebastian Bourdais. You've got a feel for Justin Wilson. He's done pretty much everything right, it seems, but here comes Sebastian Bourdais off the final corner. He's made that fantastic pass on the very last lap. He took a big chance. He went for it down the inside. You know, certainly I think the percentage there is with Bourdais. He's on the inside making that pass. It was a brave effort. It was a great motor race, wasn't it?
It was. Well, you know, Justin could have just turned in on him and the two guys would have hit too hard, but you know, Justin just saw him coming at the last minute and was able to give him a little bit of room. They still touched quite hard, but you know, fair to Justin. You know, hopefully he had to finish to get second in the championship, and he's done it.
Here's Justin Wilson, and that's his crew chief there, Robert.
Well, I'm caught up with Justin Wilson now, and now taking a look, he's got the ice pack on the hand and the brace. And how much pain are you in right now, Justin?
Can't feel anything right now. The adrenaline's taken over, but you know, it's one hell of a race. We're just hanging on for that last 10, 12 laps, you know, with, you know, wearing out the Bridgestone wets on this dry condition, so I knew it's going to be tough, but, you know, it's how it happens, you know, just couldn't hang on that last half a lap.
Take us through the pass. Were you surprised to see Sebastian dive inside, and how much contact was there?
There's quite a bit. It hit the steering wheel, and, you know, I wasn't surprised, but, you know, I didn't think it was completely on, but you know, I'll give it to him. He managed to make it happen, so you know, we'll go on from here and we'll make it happen next year.
Did it add any pain to the wrist there, that contact at the end?
A little bit, yeah. It definitely rattled the steering wheel, which wasn't good, but I got a few months now to recover.
Congratulations, Justin, a great year, and Ironmanning it here at Mexico City. Let's go over to Jan Beekes.
And with Sebastian Bourdais getting the congratulations from the crew. And owner, Paul Newman just asked him about a baby. You're expecting a child, but let's talk about the race, those last 2 laps. Unbelievable.
Well, first I want to say hi to Claire. She stayed home, and I hope she didn't stress out too much, but I'll be back tomorrow, and I hope everything's well.
Tell me about the pass on Justin Wilson on the final lap.
Well, that was a tough deal. You know, I really felt that we could win the race, but I didn't want to take him out because, you know, take any chance to take him out because he had everything to lose, and you know, it was just one heck of a deal at the end. I got a good run, you know, went around the outside, and when we arrived at turn 6, I said, you know, I can slide the car side by side, which I had like 3/4 of the car, and he didn't open the line, and you know, I had to use the curb, the bounce. We touched a little bit, but I was kind of pretty sure that wheel to side pod should be all right. So, you know, it was just a crazy race. I made up for a big mistake I made trying to catch him earlier in the race, and very, very happy for the Magnolos crew. It just, I mean, you know, it just highlights everything we've done this year, and a great win again.
It's just been a wonderful season for Sebastian Bourdais. Started off, of course, winning the very first race in Long Beach, then to Houston, race number 2, win number 2, then on to Monterey, Mexico, race number 3, win number 3, and then on the oval at Milwaukee. That was a big result for Sebastian Bourdais. Won also in San Jose and then in Montreal as well. Tricky conditions there, just as they were this afternoon. Win number 7. He clinched the championship with a less than stellar drive 3 weeks ago in Surfers Paradise, but this afternoon absolutely exemplary drive, and this guy has just done a fantastic job. Let's have a look at the unofficial results. Justin Wilson there comes home in second place. Will Power, hats off to Will. He clinches the Roche France Rookie of the Year, comes away with his very first podium finish. Bourdais goes winless on the year, disappointing for him. Tagliani another top 5 for the Team Australia. Oriol Serbia, Nelson Philippe again in the top 10. Andrew Ranger, David Martinez, a great rookie drive there for the Forsyth Racing team, just ahead of Buddy Rice. Buddy will be disappointed with that, but at least he got himself up inside the top 10. It's been a wonderful race to finish. My name's Jeremy Shaw. I hope you'll join us again when the 2007 season kicks off for the Grand Prix of Las Vegas on April 8th. See you then.